Clint's every single day. Breck staple. Breck's always had the best early season pipe, best grooming for half pipe, best park, so it's like, it's just really convenient. The airport's only like 2 hours away now. This happens to be one of the best ski areas on the planet if you want to compete in snowboarding.
It's a big enough town where they can host events like this and award shows. I mean, you're winning an award tonight, right?
I am winning, yeah, Trans World Legend Award.
Boom!
I just think it's really cool that I'm getting it here. I think it's pretty rad.
As you should. This is your hometown. I mean, you were kind of at the peak of your career here. You were known as the champ. That's what they all called him back in the day.
Glory days.
Glory days.
Glory days.
I'm a strong believer that this is far more of an art than a sport.
It's my craft, it's my artwork. I like to show it off to the world.
This is just a creative outlet. I love being outside. I love movement. I love just jumping off things.
It's not only about the result, it's about how it looks, how the style is in the air. There is the athletic side and the artistic side.
I just want to showcase what I'm capable of doing, and I want to represent skiing in a stylish way and hopefully catch some people that don't see skiing often.
You really truly ski your best when you're having a good time, and that's when that flow and that creativity happens. That is what our sport is all about.
What I think it really comes down to is doing it for yourself. Look at what's being done, what I've done in the past, and where do I want to go?
Just another beautiful day high atop the Rocky Mountains. This is Breckenridge, Colorado, host of the Dude Tour for the 11th year, the home of progression, and this is where the new tricks often originate from. On a beautiful day, glad to have you with us here at the Dude Tour. Alongside free skiing legend Luke Van Valen, I am Todd Harris. Glad to have you with us. And Luke, it does not get much better than this. A little breeze picking up, but so far the conditions have held and the course is an absolute thing of beauty.
It truly is manicured to perfection. Look at that cheese wedge of a jump right there. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. The corduroy on top of the gap. And then, of course, a perfectly manicured landing. The Toyota truck standing by for any situation that may require a utility vehicle of that nature.
I can neither confirm nor deny that that is Luke Van Valen's car that was parked up there. No idea how it got there last night late into the morning, but we will find out and venture to guess that it was after some extensive party. Here we go as we take a look at the start list for today's Slopestyle final. It'll be Fabian Bosch, Oscar Vester, Teal Harley, Alex Boulot-Marchand, Ferdinand Dahl, Andre Rigetli, and the names go on and on. Williams Woods, Ken Worthy, Alex Hall, Evan McCachran, and Henrik Harlow. Luke Van Valen, if you were a betting man, which I know you're not, who would you put your cash down on today?
Well, I mean, Henrik Harlow is always a fair bet. He basically won all the major events last year except for the Olympic Games. So he's got hunger, but he's also got tremendous talent. He won this event last year. McCachran and Alex Billiou-Marchand, 2 Canadians that are coming in absolutely firing. But the names just continue. Alex Hall has already taken the top score in the team competition in the gym section. Gus Kenworthy's gotten in there as well. James Woods is extremely hungry this season, and Fabian Bosch took the top score in the team competition in the jumps. So we've got some guys who already have had the competitive action take place, and they've already performed so well. So, I mean, this is just madness. I can't wait to see this.
A little bit different of a slopestyle format than you've seen in the past or that you saw at the Olympics. What we have done, or what the folks here at the Dew Tour have done, is separated it into really 2 different acts. The first act will be the jump act, and we're talking about some big kickers. 55, 60, and 65 feet on the first 3. So you will focus entirely, Luke, on that, and then we will make the change over to the rail section.
Totally, and the splitting up jumps and jibs is a really cool idea. One of the reasons is these athletes, they don't have to worry about speed ever. They know the speed for the jumps. They don't have to stop and hit a rail in between. They focus on jumps, getting huge air, throwing down their biggest tricks in a row, and then they move over to the jib section and get extraordinarily technical. It's a very cool approach, and I think that the athletes are really loving it. That intensity and just upbeat optimism will certainly be showcased in their desirable displays.
And right now the wind is the only concern that there is, because the sun is out. As Luke mentioned, the course is absolutely groomed. There you see the top, one of the peaks here at Breckenridge, and that is some serious wind picking up on that ridge. Not quite as much down here, but Luke, taking flight off a 65-foot kicker when there's a big gust of wind, not really the best case scenario.
Yeah, you definitely want to avoid those gusts. And we can see the flags are kind of steady right now. I think it's important what you said. Like, when it's gusting, when you're coming in and it's calm and then a gust hits you in the air, that's a real problem. But if there's a little bit of a breeze from side to side, it's totally tolerable.
There you see the red flags on the lip of the kicker, and they aren't moving quite as much as the Dew Tour flags are on the right side of your screen. So that is the good news, but safety obviously is the first priority for the folks here at the Dew Tour. They don't want to send anyone off these kickers unless the conditions are just right. And there you see one of the flags that we were mentioning starting to pick up a little bit, Luke. And the weird thing is it's not really one direction. It's changing from minute to minute.
A little bit of a swirl coming up the hill, down. Just a lot of different pressure systems in the area. Of course, yesterday, totally bluebird. We've got a little bit of clouds coming in, but for the most part, visibility is absolutely fantastic. And that's one thing. I mean, it would be another deal entirely from a weather perspective if we were dealing with, foggy conditions, overcast conditions, low light, and wind taking place. But the fact that there's a little bit of wind and it's just basically perfectly sunny, I mean, this is just going to go down. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's take a closer look at this amazing course here for the slopestyle competition in the Stanley behind the build.
Snowpark Technologies has been around for 21 years, so we've done probably more than 150 plus 200 events. The Dew Tour is definitely the kickoff of the big competition season of the big 3. Feature 1 for slopestyle course in the jib section is going to be a Stanley branded feature. We kind of start bouncing ideas and feedback and talk to some athletes about what would they like to see, stuff like that. So then we just start kind of modeling everything out, coming down to the final design, and then getting out and starting to build. Building the features is not an easy task. It consists of chop sawing, torching, measuring, cutting, welding, bolting the rails, painting, loading up the rails, shipping the rails, offload in Breckenridge, and take them up the mountain from there. You never know as far as the creativity of the riders. Every year we're really surprised.
Hi crew, we're here in Breckenridge, Colorado for the first stop of the season. It's the Winter Dew Tour, and this is our first eyes on the course. Well, couldn't be more grateful to SBT. This course is incredibly innovative, and it looks like an incredible way to get this season started.
So now you're in the know. That is the Stanley behind the bill as we keep our eyes on the peaks here at Breckenridge, Colorado, as the wind is gusting just a bit of concern for those who will be venturing across these. As we said, 55, 60, and 65-foot kickers here as we focus primarily on the jump portion of the slopestyle course. After a break, we'll head over to the rail section for more on the current conditions. Let's check in now with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, thanks, Todd. And right now I'm standing at the bottom of those 3 jumps. The final jump is actually right behind me. Now, in terms of conditions, the good news is the visibility is perfect. Clear blue skies. You guys talked about the wind. We will have to keep our eyes on that. It is slightly breezy out here. I just spoke to the ski sport organizer and he said, hey, we're good to go. Everyone's ready on top, and the speeds and the size of those jumps and the shape of those jumps will allow for those bigger tricks, so it is going to be very important to keep our eyes on the wind and especially those flags on the sides of those jumps. So we'll just keep you posted on that, Todd.
All right, thank you very much, Tina. More from you as the competition progresses. Luke, we are just about set to go. Again, it is 12 athletes who have made the final here. They will each get 3 runs on these 3 amigos, the 3 big jumps, and they will be scored on their best run. This is the men's ski slopestyle final from the Winter Dew Tour. Glad to have you with us. Luke Van Valen, Todd Harris, Tina Dixon, and it'll be Fabian Bosch, the first skier out of Switzerland. They'll have the honors of dropping in first. Now, as we said before, you'll have 3 jumps. You'll get 3 cracks at these, and then they'll take a short recess, Luke, and then it'll be onto the rail sections. Combine your 2 best scores from both those areas, and we'll have a champion.
Well, prepare to see the state of sport of free skiing, because 3 jumps in a row with the best in the world is going to be fairly mind-bending. Beautiful initial hit, switch left side, double 1440 now coming in hot. Over the shoulder on a big switch, double Misty, 1260. Will we see the double cork? 1620, wow. And we do. Fabian Bosch took the top spot in the team competition with that exact run. And he knows the judges love it. That was just a great way to start things off.
The first of 3 runs for Fabian Bosch, just 21 years of age, and he comes in the first hit switch, Luke, and this is his offering.
The switch left side, double cork 1440, 4 complete spins, and he grabs double Japan. His right hand goes down under his ski, his left hand locks down as well. Here's the switch, double Misty, 1260 safety grab. So extremely complicated tricks right there. One that pops him very deep into the landing. You can see how far he went. That'll of course help him in the amplitude aspect. And I love this left side double cork 16. Watch, he grabs it and falls into this extreme like velocity improvement. I mean, everything speeds up right at that tail end when he gets that grab and drives it down into the landing. Beautiful performance.
Nice opening score for Fabian Bosch, an 88.33. He's got 2 more runs to go here in the slopestyle competition as we focus on the jumps. Oscar Wester out of Stockholm, Sweden, set to drop in here. Boy, you talk about the conditions, as Tina mentioned, a little bit of wind coming across the top, but it does not seem to be affecting these guys at all.
And left side double cork, 1260 safety grab, fairly basic grab there on a double cork 12, which is a very common trick thrown out here. And hard into the forward right side double cork 14. So spinning to his right there. Remember, athletes are encouraged to spin both to the left and to the right. Why? Because it's more difficult, and the people that can really do it well are going to be rewarded for it. So it's become an imperative within slopestyle competition. Great run right there. Grabbing safety a little bit loose maybe. You can see his skis kind of scissor a little bit. Opens up a tiny bit there on that jump at the beginning. But a great setup trick for this switch right side. Double bio 1260. And there's the mute grab. You can see his left hand goes down to the right ski, holding onto it so well. That was a beautiful trick, matching Fabian Bosch there. And here's the right side double cork 14. You can see he kind of lost his grab there and looked for it again. 4 complete spins. Fabian Bosch had an additional 180 and a slightly better grab there in terms of his duration of hold.
So much for warming up for these athletes. Yeah. They come out swinging here on run 1 of 3. And the judges are on point now, knowing that these guys are going to bring it from the first to the third runs. Again, we'll have the 3 runs here on the jump features and then take a short halftime break, and then it'll switch over to the rail sections as a 75 drops now for Oscar Wester on run number 1. There you see the wind, a big gust coming down the front of it, and it looks like, I don't know, Luke, might be a time to maybe take a quick hold if you're the next athlete to drop in, which would be Teal Harley.
Yes, he's
thinking about it.
He's wondering if he just maybe had a little bit of bad luck coming in.
And that's the situation by the modified Super Pipe, the course which is just off to the skier's right. And that's just a big gust that came through, redusted everything, and Teal Harley out of Campbell River, Canada is set to go. So the international theme continues. No Americans have gone just yet.
Harley came onto the scene about 3 years ago at the Dumont Cup in Maine, has won the Canada Cup, and last year just blasted onto the Canadian national team, took 5th at the Olympic Games in slopestyle. Such an awesome skier to watch. Great style as right there. I mean, the tail grab throughout the entirety of that left side dub cork 12 was beautiful. Of course, all these numbers, just you know, a physics reference to degrees of rotation.
And when did a 12 become just a stock jump?
That was
when did that happen?
Pretty recently. I mean, the last 5 years or so. So not quite locking in the grab with total perfection, which is really what the judges are looking for there, but a right side double cork 12, very well executed. And down toward the bottom, that was an exceptionally well grabbed left side version of that same trick. Here's the switch, double cork 12, bones out the mute grab right there toward the tail end. A good run for him, 3 different 1260s. One starting backwards, landing forwards, one to the left and one to the right. That trick was just gorgeous. His execution, the way he grabbed his ski, everything about that was flawless. As far as the 1260 goes, I mean, that's what the judges want to see. There is some change maybe left on the table when compared to the 2 athletes we've seen who have done 1440s and 1620s in terms of difficulty.
And a score for Teal Harley of Canada is 80.67 on run number 1. Back to the top of the course here on the slopestyle jump features. This is Alex Boulot-Marchand, another Canadian to drop in. We just saw Teal Harley of Canada. This is a young man from the other side of the country. Comes to us from Quebec, Ontario.
6 countries represented out here, and I spoke to ABM's agent, Michael Sveddington. He said that Alex is coming in with tremendous excitement and heat, almost an animalistic type of fury. Switch left side dub, Misty, and oh, huge double bio 12. That was such a hot item, unbelievable. You gotta love when athletes come in and they bring a little bit of a dynamic approach. Like I said, we'll see a lot of double cork 1260s and things like that where the athlete kind of leans onto their heels as they're coming off the jump and their head is kind of positioned behind their body in the axis of rotation. ABM pretty much didn't even touch that axis of spinning. The switch right side, double rodeo, 1080, well stomped. Here's the switch to the left, double misty 1260. Puts that down, can clean up that landing just by going a little bit bigger. His rotation and execution on the trick in the air was fantastic. And then rolling this big double bio, well mute grab 1260 right to his feet. Beautifully done. I love the way he rolls it over the handlebars. That's going to send him further down the landing. Look at that grab, holding it so long, unfolding the trick, and blasting right into the snow. Just great.
Score for ABM, and it's 78 for the Canadians, so he is slotted currently in 3rd place with 4 competitors already completing their first run. Keeping the international theme going as we have Ferdinand Dahl out of Oppegard, Norway, dropping in on his first offering of 3.
The early season environment for many of the athletes these days is in Austria, a place called Stubai, and Ferdinand competed and podiumed in a World Cup earlier this season at that resort, losing things and going absolutely gargantuan. Really positive choice right there. I think that he could just tell, whoa, I'm going way too fast coming into this jump. So slowed everything down, opened her up, and just really tried to bring in those cat-like instincts, if you will.
Find your feet. What makes these world-class athletes so great is not only the tricks they can do in the air, but Luke, they are great at saving and falling correctly to minimize the damage to the body.
Absolutely. So Looking at those flags, doesn't appear to be a tremendous amount of wind as Ferdinand comes around. Very well grabbed trick, but picks up a ton of speed, lands low, does not speed check. Here's once again that switch 14. Safety grab, beautifully done, spinning to the left, switch to switch, and then he just comes mocking in there. The wind has picked up a little bit, knows he's going way too big. You'd want to land right about there, but he just continues going down to the very bottom of that landing. Whew, that was huge.
Almost carries it to Dylan, so he just reported to Artina Dixon that he's, going a little too fast. 23.67 for Norwegian Ferdinand Dahl. He'll look to run number 2 and 3. Next athlete to drop in from Switzerland, Andre Regetli. And this guy is amazing. If you want to see some incredible video parts, go online and see some of his backcountry stylings and some of the things he can do, not only in the backcountry, but in urban settings.
He's truly a savage. I mean, when he first came out and he was, 15 or 16 years old, he'd show up at a competition and he was always so fun to watch. And now that he's really come into his own, I mean, he has seemingly no limits. The first athlete to throw a quadruple cork. So when you're talking about triples, that's kind of old hat to this cat. Oh, beautiful.
Look at that.
Just flawless perfection on the left side, double cork 16, right to his feet, perfectly done. That is such a big trick. It's won big air competitions around the globe, and to be able to incorporate that now into a slopestyle event, I mean, it's just fantastic. And to see him almost utilize a second-natured sort of feel. When he's in the air, it looks like he's most comfortable.
Let's not forget, he's just 20 years of age.
Yeah, that's not fair. Right side, double cork, 1260, gets the tail grab. Here he is on the switch, double Misty 16. That's insane. I don't know that I've ever seen that in my whole life. And then, of course, right there, one more look. He unwinds that. Switch double Misty 1620. That is just absolutely bonkers. Here's the left side, double 16. So back-to-back double cork 1620s in his run. So that's 4.5 spins for those who aren't interested in counting the 360-degree rotations.
Check
doing
out the
any long
landing
division.
too.
Yeah, here he comes. There's the 1080, comes to 1440, and eventually the 1620. And yeah, I mean, exactly, Todd. Look at the landing.
Like he just didn't huck off a 65-foot kicker and go 4 rotations. This will be a big score, a 91.33 for Switzerland's Andre Regetli. The first American to make a venture down this course will be none other than McCrae Williams from beautiful Park City, Utah. Hard to believe that he is the elder statesman in this group at 28 years of age.
And his career has been so amazing. He's the defending world champion at the ripe age of 28 years old. And at that point, I had been retired from competition for 5 years, but he's still just rocking and putting up scores on the regular. Coming in backwards, switch double cork 1080, very clean, skimming it along to the right. Here's the switch, left side double 14, 4 complete spins, 2 flips, nice tail grab right there. McCrae's got one in the books. That'll score.
So McCrae Williams out of Park City, Utah with a beautiful 3-jump performance here on run number 1. Beauty thing is that last hit, how he carves off that thing.
Yeah, gotta love that. And he does that also on the second jump. There's the left side double cork, mute grabbed 1260, and he really slides off the takeoff here. And what that kind of equates to on that right side trick is he doesn't get a lot of pop upwards in the air. Not sure if you noticed that, but down at the bottom, the way he carves off that takeoff. I mean, initially, when free skiing first came out, guys were just going off flat-based. But then a gentleman by the name of Mikhail Deschanel came into the game and brought a type of style that was unforeseen and really changed the game, and McCrae Williams following suit.
So an 83.33 for McCrae Williams on jump run number 1. Remember, we combine this score that you get here, your best score, and it'll be combined with your rail section score. And that's how we will find out who is the champion at the Dew Tour. Woodsy, they call him Woodsy. His name is James Woods out of Great Britain, Sheffield. Not known for big kickers and great snow, but they have come to modify the dry mats, or what you call the dry course, and they make it work.
Absolutely, they really do. And I guess his home Sheffield dry slope training area actually burned down recently. So James Woods, you know, probably throwing some ashes around the world to basically just let the world know that, you know, England's here to stay. It's one of those things that a good skier can literally come from anywhere, and James unfortunately going down right there, an unusual scenario.
So Woodsy will step out of the bindings, go for a bit of a jaunt back up the hill to retrieve his one pole that came free. And he will look to runs 2 and 3. Great format, 3 runs, only keep your best score. Then there'll be a short intermission, and then it'll be off to the rail section. So, Luke, you don't have to slay both. You just have to be consistently probably in the top 3 of either one to give yourself a shot, obviously, at the podium.
Totally. You got to put up scores in both. And sucking the knees up right there, he went a little deep. I mean, that was truly very, very large. Watch his axis of rotation. He's going to look at his landing right there and then try to slow things down a little bit. So he kind of just sucks it up, holds onto it, and that right arm going out. He knows he just landed off axis, but in some circumstances, it's not hard to imagine that James Woods would have sucked up that landing and just kept going with his run. But the fact that he went down to the last line really indicates that he had a little too much speed coming into that baby Todd.
So Woodsy will look to runs 2 and 3. This will be a throwaway score for him, a 15.67 for the pride of Great Britain. That's how he feels about that last run. Tina, you talked to Woodsy after he collected his goods. What did he think about the course and the wind?
Oh, well, you could tell. He was really frustrated, and I asked him if it was wind, and he goes, yeah, of course it was wind. You think that was me? That wasn't me. You know, kind of half joking, but half serious at the same time. Up until now, all week, they've skied without wind, so to come into a competition and have even just the slightest breeze, I mean, it can throw you off.
Oh, no question about it, Luke. You talked about it earlier today. A gust is what you really don't want. Consistent wind, not a big problem as long as it's not hurricane force, but it's that gust when you leave the lip and all of a sudden a 20-mile-an-hour gust hits you as you open up.
Yeah, you just can't prepare for that.
So we are down to the final 4 competitors in run number 1. This is Gus Kenworthy out of Telluride, Colorado. His mother named him Augustus. We all call him Gus Kenworthy. Dew Tour champion in both 14 and 15. Putting on a great show at the Olympics in Pyeongchang, and here he is out of the gate ready to hit these first 3 jumps. Remember, 55, 60, and 65-foot kickers.
Right side double cork 1260 right there, dragging a hand on the landing, but we'll make the most of it. Continue onward. Speed, kind of an issue right now, working to get where he needs to be. There's the 1260 to the left. So gets a run to his feet, not an ideal Gus Kenworthy-esque run.
A little bit on the ragged side at his standards. Now remember, Gus Kenworthy excels both in the half-pipe and the slopestyle course, and showing right now his aerial prowess. But look, it'd be interesting to find out if that was a wind situation or did he just overcook that first or second jump.
You know, looking at the flags right there, I'd say that his first jump really just might have been a situation where he was a little off on his axis of landing right there. A little heavy on the tails right there. Might have touched the hand, could have been just a pole touch. And here's the switch, left side double cork 1260. Your poles can drag along the snow, but you got to keep your hands off of the ground when you're landing. I mean, that will be most certainly a deduction, but if it's just your pole, you're not going to get docked too much. You'll just get kind of a sloppy landing if you're bending at the waist heavily.
Luke, if it's a compression situation where you land so hard and your hands come down and touch, probably not as big a deal as if you need the hands down for balance?
That's very well said.
Okay. So Gus Kenworthy checks in with a 61, does not seem to be happy with that, and I would not blame him. That is not up to his standard. Final 3 competitors to take run number 1 as we take a look at the current standings. Andre Regetley leads it all with a 91.33. Bosch in second, so the Swiss came out swinging. Top 2 place and the best placed American right now, currently holding down third. That's McCrae Williams out of Park City and an 83.3. This is Alex Hall, also out of the aforementioned Park City, Utah. Just 20 years of age, a youngster.
Left left side. Double cork 1260. Really tough grab incorporation right there into the switch. Double cork 14 gets that around. Now looking over the right shoulder into this final jump. Whipping hard. Does he have the switch right side?
Hey.
Lead mute 12. The answer to that is affirmative. Puts that down, nicely done. Rigetli's up in that top spot, but man, Alex Hall flirting with it. And remember, Alex Hall won the rail course, the jib section of this slopestyle competition overall in the team event. So
correct.
I mean, if he can get a good score here, he'll be in that situation, just like you said. Far tail, just really, really tough to reach back and grab that leading far tail. Hope I'm saying that right. Unbelievable. Really tough grab to incorporate. And then hanging it out to dry once again and on that big 14. And are you kidding me? Seatbelt Japan. That's what?
Triple combo?
How does he do that? I mean, he's a really tall guy. He's got long arms, but he also has very long legs. To be able to bring his leg up, reach across his body with his right arm all the way down and grab the bottom of his right foot around his waist.
Oh my. Alex Hall going into first with a 94.
Oh my gracious, the grab incorporations, he set himself apart, he had big rotations, everything about that was huge, and that's gonna whisper some fear into the ears of those who are really ambitious about taking the top spot here, because we already know his rail game is very strong.
Yeah, he's put himself in a very good position. 3 runs, only keep your best. As we move back to the top of the course, the final 2 competitors, it'll be Evan McEachran, and then Henrik Harlow out of Sweden will wrap things up.
McEachran, another one of those Canadians, super hungry. Has a very, very difficult run here. Left side, double cork 1260, mute pan. And really whipping off the lip on that switch right. Double cork 14. Look for another switch dub 14.
Ooh,
boom, this time
wow.
with a lead tail grab, locking that down. And the judge's response to the progressive nature of Alex Hall's grabs, and then of course the back-to-back 1620s that we saw from Rigetli.
Yep.
I mean, they're really answering like, show me something new, it would appear. That's the indication that I'm getting from the judges. And while Evan McEachran's run was absolutely mind-blowing, back-to-back switch dub 14s with the big grab that nobody's doing up top, the mute pan right here. Watch, he grabs mute with his right hand, and then, whoa, way back behind. That might not even be a mute pan. That might be something of Evan McEachran's own creation. Left side double cork 1260, throws the brakes on just for a moment, manages his speed really well. Looks like he had one of those runs that's seemingly unaffected by the wind. Look at the flags, just a bread and butter setup right there. And there he gets the switch, right side, double cork 14. Unbelievable. And watch the lead tail here. Gets the arm, his right arm up, just to kind of showcase to the judges the comfort that is existing within his rotation. Reaches back almost on the very tip of the tail. He just short of the very tip. Judges love to see that thing blunted or capped with the hand right on the very top of the ski there. Very well done, though. I mean, no question that he had that grab throughout the entirety of his rotation. Big run.
Strong performance by Evan McEachran out of Canada. And look at this, he joins the 90 club. 92.67 for Evan McEachran out of Canada. So he sits in second. Current leader Alex Hall, and this is the final man to drop. It'll be Henrik Harlow. But look at the 90 club. 3 guys already there with Alex Hall leading the way with that 94. Andre Rigetli, we thought he threw the hammer down with 91.3. Not to be, he is in third. So you've got a 2-time back-to-back Dew Tour champion in 16 and 17 in Henrik Harlow. The man just skis with joy. That's the best way I can describe this guy on the hill.
And he has been doing it for so long. Beautiful double flat spin. 12 right there. Really tough trick and a different axis to receive from a lot of the other athletes. Looking really solid. Oh, switched up flat. Huge, super hung out grab right there. That's how he wins. I mean, he just makes everything look so easy and so flawless, and it always has just a tight, concise, but very stylish look. Everything about his his execution is that way.
Henrik Harlow, not the biggest guy in the world, although he does look like he shops at the big and tall stores. He absolutely brings it when he hits the kicker.
Absolutely. And just a beautiful left side double flat spin, 1260 safety. And I love this grab right here. Does he reach back with the right hand? Nope. Just tees it up. It's almost like half an octo grab going down right there. Now coming down switch. Beautiful switch right dub. And here's another look at it. Now that's a 1080. Switch right double cork 1080. Evan McEachran and the rest of the athletes who are taking over that top spot, spinning a little bit more than that, but a beautiful switch dub 10 in the other direction. He can definitely crank things up. Last year we saw a switch triple flat spin. That could go down once again. We know the man has it.
Henrik Harlow's score dropping is a 71.67, so he will look to runs 2 and 3 to try to improve that. Remember, this is only half of your score in the slopestyle. The second half comes from the rail section, and still a smile on the face of Henrik Harlow of Sweden. So one run is complete on the jump focus of the slopestyle competition here for the men, as the blue skies are out, as they have been for the last 2 or 3 days. As we show you who is where and what they did, it is Alex Hall by virtue of a 94 on run number 1, followed by Evan McEachran, Andre Rigettli, Fabian Bosch, and McCrae Williams, your top 5. We've still got 2 more runs on the jump section. Will Henrik Harlow and Gus Kenworthy be able to work their way up the top? We'll have to wait and find out. We'll be back to Breckenridge after this short break. You're watching the Dew Tour, built by Mountain Dew. Was your GoPro course preview. You got to look at the rail section that'll be coming up. We've got 2 more rounds to go here on the jump section. Currently, it's American Alex Hall out of Park City, Utah, leading the way with a 94. Evan McEachran of Canada sits in 2nd, and Andre Rigettli sits in 3rd. Luke, these guys have already done themselves a solid by getting into that 90th club, because whatever you do here on your 3 jump sections, you carry over, and that'll be half your score with the rails.
Yeah, so it's a huge contribution to your efforts that are going to come up later. And I mean, the guys that are up top right now, Alex Hall with a 94, and the fact that he's already shown that he can get into the 90s in the jib section. I mean, he stands in a very, very solid position to maybe win the 2018 Dew Tour. And Andre Rigettli, switch double Misty 1620. real. And then, of course, you know, Evan McEachern coming in with that lead tail grab on the switch, dub 14, beautiful stuff. And I mean, Alex Hall just kind of coming out of nowhere with the most progressive grab and flip combinations to take the top spot. The judges loved it. Such challenging integration of grab and spin. It's unbelievable.
So here we go, the second of 3 rounds, and top man going into this thing will be Alex Hall. As you see, Fabian Bosch going through the muscle memory, thinking about what he needs to do. And look, his first run score was solid. He came out swinging. The first guy to drop in, and the judges responded with an 88. So he's in a good neighborhood right now. The upper 80s, remember, with the rail section still to come, and this being half your score.
He can clean things up too. He was a little bit off on his landing of his final jump, so I think that can be cleaned up. Switch left side, double 14, double Japan is the name of that grab. Switch double Misty 12. Andrew Gettley went an additional 360 right there. Boom! Left side dub 16, much cleaner right there for Fabian Bosch, the man out of Switzerland, and he has topped the podium at big air competitions everywhere, including X Games, and I mean, his abilities in the air are unbelievable. There's a video going around of him doing a Superman triple front flip, and it is one of the most enticing things to watch. It's just crazy. I mean, he's so good. Switch double Misty to the right, and here's where he reaches back, locks in that grab, turns his ski. Look at, he's pushing his ski. It's like a rubber band to just slam him through the entirety of that 4.5 spins.
So Fabian Bosch sitting on an 88.33. Oh, throw that away because you're going to the 90 club. 92 even for Fabian Bosch, moves him into 3rd place. So the judges certainly responding to the offering of Fabian Bosch as we go back to the top of the course. Remember, it's 3 jumps, 55, 60, and 65 feet. Oscar Vester now dropping in with that 75, which he would love to get rid of.
He could definitely do better than what we saw in run number 1. A little bit of a botched landing right there. Super small mistake, but not getting that one around. So, wow, the pressure is now on to load up that score a little bit more in run number 3.
Luke, was that a byproduct of landing of jump number 1, or did he just miscall it on jump 2?
You know, it's hard to say. Maybe the replay will indicate what the answer to that question is, but he was a little bit slow on kind of his off the lip, off the takeoff, how he started this trick. Because there he's finishing his 900 and he's still got a whole nother flip to go. He might have thought he was going to be going a lot bigger. Watch, he's just coming around to forward and he's got a whole nother flip to go. Dives under, not enough hang time right there. Must have thought he was going a little bit bigger than he did, or was just a little too calm on the trick initiation, which always takes place on the lip of the jump.
Teal Harley from beautiful Campbell River in British Columbia, sitting on an 80.67. Remember, he was, I don't say plagued with the wind early on, but the wind certainly has died down just a little bit from when we started this competition on run number 1.
Well, Teal got a good score. He's in the 80s. Hopefully he'll add on some additional action here. Wow, that's definitely an improvement on that switch double. And getting around the 12 right there, just barely at the tail end, throwing that down, and a great grab throughout. Maybe having to let go a tiny bit early, went big, but I think at least on his first 2 airs, he's still just doing 3 1260s.
Right.
So there's other guys that are beyond the difficulty in the rotation world, but his execution is really what he's focusing on, trying to stay very stylish. Watch this mute, the way he hangs that out, kind of Mac forehand style, beautifully executed. Switch dub core 12. And way out on the nose and just poking it. You see the control element there? The judges love that. They respond in a different way. If you do something that's really complicated, say you swung the craziest trick in the world, but you weren't clean, you didn't hold your grab, you're not going to see the type of score that you would hope.
85 even for Teal Harley, so he does improve on run number 1, has him currently sitting in 5th place. Keep the Canadian theme going. This is the man simply known as ABM, Alex Boulot-Marchand, out of Quebec, Canada. Threw in a 78 So the Olympic bronze medalist from the 2018 games is now on course, and he's going to come into this one, Luke, switch or backwards.
So far, so good. Great amplitude there and a solid landing to boot. Switch double bio 1260, super solid. Going huge on these jumps so far. This time just right into the sweet spot on that landing. A forward left side double bio 1260. And kind of what I mentioned in his first run is that he's taking some different approaches with the axes that he's spinning on. It's, you know, sometimes you watch like a high dive competition and everyone's doing the same trick. He's doing some different things, and he's doing them very well. Catching some serious air right there on that switch. Right double 1080, and then here's the switch double misty 1260 spun to the left. Great safety grab, and I love this trick. Big old mute grab, rolls over the shoulders once again on the second portion, the second flip in that forward double misty 1260. A double misty, a really difficult trick. The first person I ever saw do that was actually World Skiing Invitational Big Air in Whistler, Justin Dory. And it's a tough trick. It's, you know, big risk, big reward oftentimes, and if you're short on speed, popping off the tips is always a helpful way to do it.
Nice improvement, almost a 10-point plus improvement for ABM. Alex Boulot-Marchand of Canada now sitting with an 88.3. Ferdinand Dahl now, young man that needs to get up and go. Strapped with that 23.67, having a crash as we saw on the first run. Remember, there's much more wind on run number one, not seeming to be the case now as it has died down here in the early afternoon in Breckenridge.
So Dahl stepping up for a mulligan. Switch 720 right there. Looks like he's gonna just toss this run away as well. Be interesting to know what exactly went down on that first jump, which compelled him to stop that intensity, which we were ready to see throughout that run. I mean, it just didn't have that consistent righteousness.
And I know you noticed the announcer jinx there, as I soon mentioned the wind dying down. Mother Nature sent a gust. Just let me know who's in charge.
You know, sometimes when the wind is blowing and it's plagued you prior, any sensitivity toward that can cause a little bit of a mental block to going on. Probably taking a look at the flags, just switch 7. Probably would have been fine to do the tricks he wanted to do, but man, mentally it can be so tough if the wind is coming along. Sometimes an athlete will just say, no way.
So Ferdinand Dahl not feeling it there. His score does improve, though, up to a 51. Remember, this is 50% of your scores. We still have to move over to the rail yard, and they will get 3 cracks at that course as well. Andre Rigetli, first man to dip into the 90s in the competition. He threw down a 91.33, and look, at the time we thought, wow, we may have just seen the winning run. Not so much, as 3 other guys followed suit with 94s, 92s, 92.67, with Hall, McCachran, and Bosch all joining in.
Well, watch this trick he throws down on the second jump. It's the right side double cork 1260, well executed, solid tail grab. Switch double misty 1620, unbelievable trick, and hard over the left shoulder, and the left side double cork 16, perfect landing, feet together, just comfort, like he's just walking down the stairs or something. I mean, I can't find a comparison that really shines light on how easy he made that landing look. It's flawless. And here's that first right side double cork 1260 tail grab. Looks like he was searching. No, he locked in the grab there. Put it down. His skis, the tips of his skis, not maybe a perfect crossing of the skis. I'm just trying to be as judgmental as possible to try to figure out why this wouldn't somehow go up into the top spot. The back-to-back 16s, just amazing. Maybe not capped on that tail grab, which basically indicates that he needs to go all the way to the tip of that.
Wow, a bit of a surprise there. Not an improvement on his first run, but it's still a 90, so he'll stay with the 91.33 and look to run 3. Wow, that picture says it all. Beautiful day here in Breckenridge, Colorado. Slight breeze has been blowing early in the competition here as McCrae Williams gets set to drop on his second run. McCrae, Oldest competitor here at 28 years of age. His first run score was an 83.33.
Eternal world champion coming in now, hard over the left shoulder. Double cork 12 safety, very clean. McRae, the most experienced competitor in the field. Oh my! Definitely had a tailwind there. Oh, wow.
Bit of a push.
The fact that, I just want to maybe go back to what you said, Todd, about these guys being able to fall correctly, or at least
minimize the damage.
Yeah, minimize the damage, make just tiny adjustments at the last second when they feel that wind. It's like a mental and muscle memory thing. They can seemingly anticipate the velocity, or at least experience the velocity in a split-second time frame that's going to influence the way that they throw their trick off of the takeoff in such a way that they don't completely blow up at the bottom and land on their feet, even though they're going a lot farther than they want to. The flag's up at the top, definitely ripping. Tailwind for sure. Look at this. Whoa, all the way to the bottom right there. And the way he slaps back, you just know the impact down there. And he just slows down so much. He's going to carry his head around, going to peek at that landing. Oh, he knows it's coming, but does so well with the impact of having landed basically in the valley between two behemoth jumps.
So McRae Williams gets a 14, but that becomes a throwaway. He'll sit on the 83.3 and have one more run. Now you see the flags. Momentarily, they kind of sit quietly and wait for someone to come down before they pick up Alex Hall. Alex Hall leads the way with a 94, 92.67 for Canada's Evan McCachran, and Fabian Bosch sitting on a 92 currently in third place. Remember, this is just half of the score for the slopestyle. Still have to head over to the rail yard to see what they can do there for the other half of their overall score. James Woods now looking for something big here. Woodsy having issues on run number 1. 15.67, telling Tina Dixon it was not him, it was the wind.
Well, fortunately for him, the wind looking quite mild. Lovely switch left side, double cork 1260. That is not his natural direction of spinning. Huge right side, double cork 1620. Now looking over the right shoulder, switch, dub 10 octo, his bread and butter trick. And I think he did exactly what any legendary competitor would be want to do, and that's to put down a run that's going to give him a score he can build upon in the rail section. Very important.
So 50% of his score coming from this area, and Woodsy with a great second run here, much better than his first.
And watch the way that he drops hard, flexing his hips out, just cranking every muscle in his body to swing around the additional 360. There's that, he grabs, not lead tail, he grabs behind him. So if you can imagine spinning to the left and reaching back with your right hand and grabbing the heel of your right foot, basically, if you're in your living room just watching this event, and then trying to turn the other way, it creates this pretzel feeling within your body where your muscles are going against one another, and his ability to swing all that together, really amazing. Also his classic trick, the seemingly double jointed ankles of James Woods, always astound.
So James Woods goes from a 15.67 to an 87 on run number 2.
Thanks for bearing with me, being grumpy, everyone. Let's
Alex Hall is the leader with a 94. He still has to take his second run as we are in the midst of the second run of 3. Only issue today has not been the skies. It has not been the course. It has been a little bit of wind. It has not been consistent wind, so hard to plan for, and that's exactly what Gus Kenworthy will have to do now, having issues on his first run, only picking up a 61.
Oh, nice improvement right there on that first right side double cork 1260. Great looking grab. Here's the switch left. Love the way he just hangs that out to dry at the tail end. And there's the left side double cork 1620, a popular trick in today's competition. Beautifully executed right there from Gus. The one question maybe was on the tail grab throughout his rotation there, but truly a massive improvement from what we saw in run number 1. There's that right side double cork 12, and watch the second half of this rotation. Spins hard and then slows it way down on that right-handed safety grab, and just reaches up and grabs it, and then just opens his body, lets everything happen naturally. That is comfort and joy. It's the holiday season.
Sure.
Gotta love that. And here he cranks in, had the tail grab nicely. They'll definitely give him that. Could do with a tiny bit more amplitude on that final jump, but really, if I know Gus Kenworthy, he was just wanting to put this run to his feet, get a solid score so that he has something to build upon in the rails, and he's still in many ways in the competition here. So well done on that. He's got another run.
Kenworthy looking for a big score, as 4 athletes have already gone into the 90s. He'll go into the 80s, so a 20-point improvement for Kenworthy, and 81 for him on jump section number 2. 3 more competitors to take their second run here of 3 on a beautiful day in Breckenridge, Colorado. Will be Alex Hall, Evan McEachran, and Henrik Harlow, the last 3 to drop in. Alex Hall has the honor of being the top-placed athlete so far here in the first half of Slopestyle. Remember, the rail's still to come, but he is sitting beautifully on a 94 and rocking the bamboo poles.
Just getting after it and really benefiting from his ability to contort his body into a variety of sensational positions and throw down extraordinary grabs. But going 1440 on that first jump, and a couple cork 3s, always an indication that something went wrong there. Maybe he wanted a little bit less or a little bit more. So it goes like this. Anytime an athlete's in a slopestyle competition, they want to tee up, say, their second jump to hit it backwards. They have to land their first jump backwards. So that something might have gone not necessarily according to plan, and he just swung around the 1440. Could have continued, but it would appear that that was not necessarily part of the plan. And what a far tail grab on the left side double cork 1440. Had he continued and made something up, I mean, he probably still would have scored very well.
Yeah, so this is a throwaway for him, that 42. Alex Hall, though, no frown on his face. He's still sitting with the 94 from run number 1. Final 2 men to take their second run of 3. Evan McEachran currently sitting in second place. Got to feel comfortable when you got a 90-plus score in your back pocket.
No question about that. McEachran coming in hot now. Winding it up, just slamming his boots down in that last 360 of his rotation. There's the switch right side, double 1440 down into the bottom. Switch left side dub, 14 to the bottom. Huge air right there, and holding onto it, exceptional amplitude. Remember, amplitude is a huge part of skiing, whether it's in half pipe, slopestyle, big air, any of the facets of competitive competition for free skiing. The fact that he went big right there, that's huge. That's only going to help him out. Left side, double cork 12, mute pan now coming in, looking over that right shoulder. Hard to tell about the grabs there. Here's the instant replay. Grabs, maybe a little gargoyle grab right there, which is essentially a safety and then sort of an inside crit, if you will. Reaching down, double grabbing at the very least on that right side, double cork 14. Beautifully done.
So Evan McEachran's second offering not as good as his first, an 89.33, so he will stay with the 92.6 and look to run number 3. Last man to drop in will be the smiling Swede, Henrik Harlow. First run score was a 71.67. Luke, what does he need to bring to get himself into the illustrious 90 club?
Well, he just needs to basically be Henrik Harlow. He just needs to bring in some of those nose butter double corks, maybe that triple that we've seen from him in the past, the switch, triple 12 flat spin. He just needs to step it up a little bit in terms of the difficulty of his tricks. Beautiful double flat spin 1260. That's a great start for him. There's the switch right side, double 10. Needs something big right here, down to the bottom. And there's the switch triple 1260 mute grab. The first triple that we've seen of the day. Wow, hello, Henrik Harlow. I think he's going to enter the conversation with some fairly serious wind at his back.
That is a nice conversation to be in because his rails are not terrible either. So he's going to come into this thing and hopefully join that 90 club and then put all the pressure on the rest of the field as we make the move over to the rail section.
I love this double flat spinning rotation. His head drops down again. Comes around to 1080. One more for the 12. Little bit splayed, a little bit straddled on the landing. Felt the impact there, but held onto it to not drag a hand. Coming into the switch, right side, double cork, 1080. So this is one area where a lot of the guys are throwing down bigger spins in their double corked rotations. Harlow goes for the switch right side, dub 10, but then really blasts it to the moon with this switch triple 1260 mute grab. That's a huge trick. There's the first one. His feet come up around a second time, and here's the third, and he sneaks his tips back underneath to the landing. He's like the only guy that's doing that trick, and he does it so well.
So just short of the 90 club, an 89.67 for Henrik Harlow with one run to go. Alex Hall continues to lead the way by virtue of that first run, 94 for more on him. Let's check in with Tina.
Oh, well, I just talked to him after that second run, and he said, I didn't mean to do that 1440 on the first jump. That was an accident. He said he just set his skis too hard and kept rotating. And then he kind of started joking around about doing a 1620 because that would actually set him up better for that second jump. But he thinks that first jump's not going to be big enough for the 1620, so we'll probably go back to what he was originally doing. But either way, Alex Hall, guys, just looking so on point.
No question about it. And when you have that opportunity, Luke, to throw in a 60, when that's at your disposal, that's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, not a bad environment to find yourself in. And, I mean, hats off, just standing ovation to that second jump where he throws in the seatbelt Japan and a switch dub. It's insane.
2 runs down, 1 to go. American Alex Hall is the leader with a 94. McEachran with a 92.6, and Fabian Bowe sitting in third with a 92 even. We'll have those third and final run when we return to the men's ski slopestyle final here from beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado.
You all good? Yeah. Me too. You got a heater in there too.
back in beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado. This is the Dew Tour version 2018. Todd Harris, Luke Van Valentina Dixon, and we are down to the third and final runs in the men's slopestyle competition as we focus our attention on the jumps. Right now, American Alex Hall leads the way with a 94. Evan McEachran sits in second, 92.67. Fabian Bosch in third. But let's not forget, folks, this is only half the show. This is only half the sandwich because we still have to make the jump over to the rail features. And so a lot of guys still in contention, especially when you could jump like this.
Yeah, I mean, this gentleman, Andre Rigetti, is a little bit out of his mind. Then Evan McEachran comes through, and he's swinging massive tricks, back-to-back switch 14s. And then Henrik Harlow comes into the equation from way back in the back with the switch triple 1260. If he adds a little more bacon maybe to that second jump, we might be able to see him really get into a spot that's a little bit closer to the top. Alex Hall holding it down with that particular trick added to the other mind-bendingly challenging maneuvers he's accomplished thus far.
And currently sitting in third place is Switzerland's Fabian Bosch with a 92, and this is where you go avec sizzle. Yeah. You bring the sizzle to this third and final run because after this, whatever score you have, your best score, that it will be 50% of your overall.
And the Bosch man going real big right there on that first one. Additional amplitude points, switch right side, double misty 1260 and down into the bottom. Once again, whipping hard and a great landing there. Just stomping. Definitely better than his first run landing.
Is it better than the 92 that he's sitting on right now?
You know what? It's really hard to say because he went bigger on his first jump, which is always going to be great. All of the tricks were seemingly very much locked in at that point. There's a look at that first jump. He carries it down to the third line, folds a little at the waist, but that's just due to the impact of going so massive. Switch right side, double cork 1260. The fact that he's doing that trick to the right, very challenging. Let's look at the grab here. Watch his right hand. Oh yeah, right on the tip of the tail, driving with his grab, holding onto it for such a long time. And a super solid landing. Man, if that's got to be an improvement.
And it is indeed a 93.3, so Fabian Bosch jumps into second place. And now he can focus his attention on the rails. And what a great situation he finds himself with a 93.3 as Oscar Vester now looks and says, wow, I got to follow that. Well, he's in a world of hurt right now, figuratively speaking, because he's got a 75, Luke. And if he has to carry a 75 into the rail section, he's going to need a monster score to even be in the conversation.
Well, he's got profound skills. He just needs to put it all together. He's been struggling a little bit with the wind, with the speed today. Drops into what plagued him prior, the switch, right side double cork, 12, and this time comes around nicely, right double cork 1440 out of the switch double misty 12. Very, very clean run, definitely his best so far. I think he'll be throwing away that 75 and pursuing something a little closer to the 80, between 80 and 90. I don't think he's going to break into the 90s with that particular run, but definitely good to see him throw one down. Really splayed at the beginning of that, but a good landing, holding on to it, coming into the switch double misty 1260 with such a late second flip, but gets it around this time, and then hard over the right shoulder into the double 14. 4 complete spins, 2 flips. Let's look at this grab here. Oh yeah, right up on the tip of the tail with that left hand. Way to flip out of it. Very nice, very good run.
Given a lot of thought to this third and final run for Oscar Vester, as the score has yet to drop. Luke, I got to ask you this question while we have a moment. The same equipment that they're skiing on here, will they be carrying that same gear over to the rail section?
Most likely. Some of the athletes might switch up skis if they have the exact same thing, but most likely.
87.67, so Oscar Vester into 7th place, which is hard to believe, a 7th place with an 87.
Yeah, that's wild. That just really shines light on how wild the day has been.
Weather-wise, the day has been absolutely beautiful here with a little bit of wind, but the wind has calmed down by virtue of looking at those red flags there on the kicker. Those kickers, if you were wondering, 55, 60, and 65 feet, Luke. But they are traveling much further than that when you look at the point of takeoff to where they are actually landing in the sweet spot as Teal Harley of Canada looks to his third and final run. Right now, he is sitting on a best score of 85.
Just absolutely crazy competition to see that top score, which is half of the overall score the athletes will have, being at a 94 by Alex Hall. Teal Harley, right side, double cork, 12, going big, kind of opening up at the last minute, but not going to be happy with that, and a monstrosity of a switch 540 right there into the left side 5. Landing gear down, solid little tail grab, something fun to watch. Teal Harley, when just playing around, oftentimes makes me wish personally I was just a little bit better skier. Amazing stuff, very smooth, and just a little too big on that first jump.
So he will have to hold on to the 85 that he got on run number 2, and now his attention, like those before him, will now be focused on the rails.
Going into this jump, a little too much speed. The right side dub cork has to open up and slow things down a little bit right there with that well-timed straddle. And this switch 5 is kind of what I'm talking about. Just zero body movement in the air. Everything is just occurring. It's a miracle of physics. It's just naturally happening.
So the 40 is a throwaway. The 85 is what he takes, and that has him currently in 9th place. There's some folks feeling adventurous today here in Breckenridge, Colorado, as they make their way in search of fresh tracks. That certainly would have been the case earlier this week when Mother Nature dropped about 6 inches of fresh on a Wednesday night. But since then, it has been bluebird here in Breckenridge as the Dew Tour has come back to town. You are now looking at Alex Boulot-Marchand of Canada.
Nice switch right side, double. Very solid grab. Whoa, switch triple, 1260 right there. Boulot-Marchand definitely picking things up, and there's the board. Double Misty 12, adding so much heat to his run in the midsection, but falls on his easier trick, the one he had done countless times today with seemingly little effort. Wow, if only you would have landed that. We'd get to see him put up big numbers.
He may have left a huge divot on the landing area, that third and final jump, as he unbuckles to make sure everything's okay. And it's smarting just a bit.
Oh my gracious, the switch triple coming in. The only other guy we've seen throw a triple today was Henrik Harlow. And here's the first item of business. Switch right side, double rodeo 10, and here's the second. There's one flip, here's the second. Comes around and he goes for a third. Watch landing. Boom. Done. And coming in, he's like, yes, okay, I got all the steam that I could possibly need. That's what I was going for. He knew he wanted to increase his score. Switch triple. Wow, on a 60-foot tabletop, him probably flying upwards of 90 feet from takeoff to his landing. And just a tiny bit short on this forward double Misty 12. Locks in the grab, sees the landing, lets go, sucks the knees up. But just short. Went about, I would say, yeah, beyond 90 feet on that first jump, but this last jump, right at like that 65-foot mark, he almost catches what we call the knuckle, which is just the end of that flat portion. Oh no, he carried about 5 feet more beyond that, but just not enough, not a fast enough rotation with the speed that he had.
So an 88.33 for ABM, Alex Boulot-Marchand of Canada. Now he is focused squarely on the rail section. Ferdinand Dahl thinking about what he needs to do. He needs a big score. The score to beat is at 94. American Alex Hall laid that down on run number 1.
And Dahl has kind of had a tumultuous day. Got a little bit of a struggle so far with speed and the like. Hopefully he can put one together here. Oh man. Trouble Bose. Not his day in the jumps. and slid into the landing. That kind of an indication of how spectacular the park builders are out here at Breckenridge. When you hit this, what we call the sweet spot of the landing, there's almost not even a sound. You don't even, the trajectory matches up with the angle of the landing perfectly.
Andre Rigetli has certainly been consistent. As we take a look at the current standings, Alex Hall leading still with that 94 that came in round number 1. Fabian Bosch, Evan McEachran, all in the 90 club, as is this man, Andre Rigetli. And Luke, I thought he was underscored a bit on run number 2. They only gave him a 90.33, his best score so far, coming run number 1 with a 91.33.
Some of the deductions might have been, on this first jump. This grab was a little bit loose. You're talking about scores in the 90s. It's really got to be a tight overall impression. Oh, that trick, I just can't get enough. The switch double, Misty 1620. He just stomps it on the reg. Beautiful left side dub 16 as well down at the bottom. So one big right side trick up top, and then the 2 left side 1620s. One backwards, one forwards. Good grabs locked in throughout. Here's that first one. Let's look at the grab here. Reaches back for the tail. You can see kind of his toe pieces, the way he crosses his skis. He's just crossing the tips of his skis as opposed to really locking in a massive cross. And sometimes that can look a little bit loose to the judges, but this right here, holding that safety grab until he nearly lands on his fingers, has to get that hand out of the way. Switch, double, Misty 16. Unstoppable. Hard over the left shoulder for the second 16.24.5 spins. Let's take a look at that right hand as it reaches back. Not an ideal grab right there, and I hate to even say that because of the complexity of the rotations at hand, but those grabs, they gotta be locked in. Judges want to see it on the tip of the tail.
The most consistent skier possibly throughout the day. An improvement for Rigetli as he goes to a 92. I don't know if he's thrilled with that, but he's had a 91, a 90, and now a 92, as Rigetli will certainly be in the conversation as we get to the jib section, which is coming up shortly. But it's still Alex Hall, Luke, with a 94. But look at all those guys in the 90s. This is, remember, that 50% of their overall score. So if you carry anything in the 90s, you are definitely in running not only for the podium, but for the win.
No question about it. I mean, Alex Hall has poised himself perfectly moving into the rail section, especially after having won with the highest score in the rails during the team event. I mean, this guy, he could be our Dew Tour champion. This is going to be unbelievable.
Speaking of champions, world champion McCrae Williams out of Park City, Utah, now dropping in. McCrae having issues on jump number 2, but his first one was solid. He needs something big, though. He needs to be in that 80-90 club, because right now he's sitting on an 83.3.
Hasn't had a chance to hit that jump again since he went too big. It goes massive again. Oh, no. McCrae lays it out.
And that seemed doomed as soon as he got done with that second jump. It just seemed like the landing wasn't right, or the speed just wasn't to his liking.
Well, he kind of skimmed it. He sort of rolls off his edges off that second kicker and just went gigantic. So deep, pulled everything together, but lost a lot of speed coming into the final jump. Look at that tail grab, though. You can just sit back and enjoy the grace of McCrae Williams. He's always locking in the best grabs. He's such a solid skier, so fun to watch. Current world champion, just a delight. Unfortunately, the last 2 runs for him today didn't go his way.
Down to the final 5 competitors here in the jump portion of the slopestyle competition here in Breckenridge, Colorado. This is James Woods. He's currently in 8th place with an 87, but that could all go away. Remember, it's 3 runs, only the best score counts. Speaking of best scores, it's American Alex Hall who has that best score with a 94. And remember, he hasn't even taken his 3rd and final jump as of yet.
What's he coming in backwards, hard over the shoulder. Switch double cork 1260, locks it in. Now over the right. His natural direction of spinning. Big old dub 16. Gorgeous stuff right there as he comes into the bottom.
Oh,
gigantic. Switch dub octo grab. That was definitely better than his prior run, which scored an 87. Everything about that was just clean. I loved how big he went on those jumps and how he maintained his composure despite no doubt experiencing some fairly massive impacts. Beautiful stuff. Love watching James ski. There's that safety grab as he comes around on the switch left, double cork 1260. And watch him just crank over the right shoulder. Locking in that tail grab, not quite, once again on the very tip of the tail, but definitely held the grab throughout the entirety of the rotation. Dips his head down on that right side, double cork 1080 octo. Watch this grab, right hand to the tail, left hand to the nose of the other, and then he buckles his ankles together, just contorts everything. That grab invented by a gentleman out of Quebec, Charles Gagne, the name.
An 88 for James Wood, so it is a slight improvement as he goes into 7th place. Gus Kenworthy out of Telluride, Colorado, set to drop in on his 3rd and final offering here. Kenworthy brought a 61 and an 81. He needs to be in that 90 category, and if you look to his rail abilities, Luke, where do you think Gus needs to be as far as a score to have himself in the running to take the title?
I mean, high 80s. High 80s. It would be amazing if he could get into the 90s, but his rail skills certainly are very strong. Falling out just at the right time. Beautiful landing there on the right side. Double cork. Now switch left side, dub 12. Nicely done. Will he spin the 16 here? Yes!
Oh, my.
And he goes giant. Kenworthy matching many of the athletes who find themselves in the top 5 with that 1620. That's man, that is such a tough trick. TJ Schiller, an individual in a big air competition who took the gold medal with that very trick, and it just went from a 1260 to a 1440 to a 16 in this constantly evolving and progressing sport. Beautiful grab right there. Left-handed mute grab from Gus Kenworthy on the switch right side, dub 10. Oh man, and then the switch left, dub 12. Love the way he spins this trick. It comes around, there's the 900, and then he falls from the sky in a way that just breathes general athleticism.
It's amazing how he can slow everything down and spot that landing and just put the gear down and just ski away so smoothly.
Oh yes. Looks like he got the grab on the 2nd try there and did hold it for a substantial amount of time.
So it is an improvement for Kenworthy. It's an 84.33. So that is the score he will take to the rail section of the slopestyle course. Well, Alex Hall was sitting very happy in the catbird seat, so to speak, with a 94. And now there's 4 guys all within 2 points of his 94. So Alex Hall, knowing that he'd love to give himself a little more breathing room than just less than a point to 2nd place in Fabien Bosch. How would you rate his rail features for Alex Hall? How is he going to fare over there?
Sensational.
There you
10.
go.
I encourage anyone who is at home to attempt this next grab just sitting. Try to reach around your body with your right hand and grab the bottom of your right foot. Over your left leg, grab the bottom of your right foot. He just threw that down in that last trick, and boom, Hall takes it to his feet again. A little bit short maybe on the rotation, probably not going to increase his very ample 94, but he just he's just got grab combinations within the big tricks that are quite nuts.
And you see at that landing on the 3rd and final jump, he caught that left hand, and Mother Nature was not kind as he dropped out of the sky, full impact.
He goes for the far lead tail right there on the left side, double cork 1260, beautiful landing. And here's where he goes. Watch this right hand. Reaches around his body and grabs the bottom of his right foot. I mean, he's so contorted in the air. I just tried to do that sitting. It's seriously hard. I mean, it's like a yoga position that he just decidedly reaches around and grabs it. That's his right hand to right foot. Who does that? Nobody does that. That's just not something that you see. It's new. It's a seatbelt Japan grab, and it's extraordinarily challenging. Not to mention the fact that he's doing it in the midst of a switch double.
So he will hold on to run number 1, 94, current leader in the jump portion of the slopestyle competition. Final 2 competitors set to drop in. It'll be first Evan McCachran, and then Henrik Harlow will wrap things up here on the jump features. Remember, these jumps 55, 60, and 65 feet, with these athletes carrying easily 90 feet in distance.
McCachran's been so consistent throughout the day. Oh, hung out right there. Pardon me if I jinxed him, but took it real deep. Fortunately, he's got a solid score right now. And I mean, I feel like, Todd, at this point, if you're up there in the 90s and we've got 4 athletes that are, you're sitting in a beautiful position. We could see a huge shake-up in the rail section because rails are so challenging, so difficult, and there's a lot of them. There's 4 different sections where the athletes have to really get complex, very technical, and doing that routinely is a pretty tough deal. Here's that switch, right side, double 14. Get a little bit of cat out the window there at the end as he falls to the ground below. And skims off, just rolls off his edges. Switch, right side, double 1440 gargoyle, and bam, to the depths.
It all comes down to this as we take a look at the current standings. Alex Hall will either be in first or second heading over to the rail section because there's one competitor to go, and that's Henrik Harlow, the man on your screen right now, set to drop in. Harlow currently sitting in 5th place, just outside of the 90 with an 89.67. We remind you, this is only half of your slopestyle score. Whatever you take here, this is half of what you get, and then the rails will be the other half.
The most experienced athlete in the field. I remember when he was about 13 years of age, showing up to competitions with his dad in tow. His dad dragging him along to sign the forms so that he could compete and not getting around that switch right side, dub 10.
So was that a case of not enough speed or just biting off a little more than you can chew?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's very safe to say that there was a speed issue coming in right there. And you know, it's a balance basically when an athlete takes off a jump between how quickly they're going to initiate their trick, how fast they're going to spin and flip in order to get back to their feet, and the amount of speed that they have. You have to make that judgment right at the tail end. And here he is. He's going to take a peek, sucks the knees way up to try to get that around. And had he caught the outside edges, that could have been troublesome, but Henrik Harlow dealing very well with that misfortune. Coming around right there and sucking him up. Just the inside tail of that right ski catching a little bit, but he looks to be totally fine.
So Henrik making his way to the bottom. This is a throwaway score of 20, so he goes to the rail features now with an 89.67, which is half his score. As we set it down to Tina, who is with Henrik Harlow.
Yeah, the defending champion. You still have that score, 89 in the 89s. 50% of the score is jumps. Overall, what's your assessment of what you were able to do up here?
What about it? Sorry?
Yeah, what's your thoughts on your score and what you were able to do?
I'm very stoked with my run. I think I got a little bit of a low score for it because I think it was like the only triple and the only double rodeo, and I went big and I grabbed, and I think just a little bit of a low score, but 89 should be good enough to do a little bit better on the rails. Hopefully the judges give me a little extra there instead.
Yeah, I mean, 89 is a great score heading into the rails. What are your thoughts on that, and how are you feeling? We've seen you in that park already, and we know you can ride that stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go with it, and I would have liked to be in the 90s from the jumps, but that's not the case this time, so I'm gonna have to go a little extra hard on the rails.
Ah, that's scary, you guys.
Henrik Harlow getting a little subtle campaigning into the judges for a little extra love here in the Rocky Mountains as he checks in. And 5th place with an 89.67 after the jump features. We take a look at the standings. After 3 runs, it is Alex Hall. He threw it down on run number 1, a 94. Fabian Bosch with a 93. McEachran in the 90 club with a 92.67. And Andre Rigettli with a 92. Henrik on the outside looking in. As Tina pointed out, 50% of your score comes from this jump section. As we take a look at the leader, Alex Hall, the man of the hour, as he takes a look at the jib course. What will he have to do? What can he do to combine with that 94? It should be a thing of beauty. Alex Hall, once again, the top man after 3 runs with 94 in his account as he looks to the jib section and what he can throw down for a possible overall title here at the Dew Tour. We'll be back after a short break in a moment. You're watching the Dew Tour built by Mountain Dew.
asked myself a million times why I listen to music when I ride, and I think it's just because there's a bunch of crap going on up there. So it's really nice to be able to block that stuff out, especially at contests.
The way that you ride can be, you know, sort of amplified by the song you put with it.
I usually like to listen to a little bit of rap, get you juiced up.
Sometimes you overamp and blast too big and you're like, okay, next time maybe I'll tone it back a little bit, listen to something chiller.
I think traveling has made me even more into music because I always have my headphones with me for every mood, feeling. Yeah, my Spotify playlist is pretty big.
Snowboarding and music are two of the biggest influences in my life outside of my friends and family. There's no wrong time to listen to some music.
I do have a lot of cool things that have happened. First I won the Olympic gold, and then I won 3 ESPYs, and then I was on a cereal box. I'm a Barbie now. The thought of me being a Barbie doll is kind of weird, but it's pretty exciting. I'm excited for the world to see it. I went to Slopestyle a couple weeks before my team did with my coach, Rick Bauer. I went because I really wanted to land the double, and it's been something I wanted to do for a really long time, so this is the first trip I've ever gone on with a goal, just one trick in mind. We were waiting for the airbag to get set up, but there was weather coming in, and after a week and a half of me being there was still no airbag, so the last day of that week, I just went up and I just did it. I think I like the adrenaline rush of learning new tricks. I feel like trying the double without an airbag was pretty impulsive, but I did it, and I'm really glad I did it that way. There are so many amazing women snowboarders right now that are just absolutely killing it. Being a part of that is amazing. Hopefully me and the girls will start doing some crazy things this year.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Dew Tour Live. I'm not Todd Harris, although sometimes I wish I was. I'm Chris Cote. Luke Van Valen. We are unchained. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the things we just saw. I want to start it off with asking you, for the first time ever, we're halfway through men's ski slopestyle, and we have split the course.
Yes.
All right, so we start with jumps, now we go to jibs. In the past, it's all been one course. What is that going to do in terms of our competition today?
Well, it changes everything, in my opinion. I mean, you have 2 scores now that you get to throw together. And one, you can just totally focus on jumps and really just be in that frame of mind. You don't have to think about landing switch so you can hit the rail switch in between the 2 jumps and that sort of stuff. There's that whole element aside. It's gone. And so the delightful experience for a lot of these athletes is kind of a simplified overall feeling, and when they get into the jibs, it's like, okay, I've already done my business on the jumps. Now it's just time for me to dive in head first to some rails and get extraordinarily technical and try to add to the score I already threw down. And for me personally, just from viewing, I'm all hyped up about it.
Yeah, so potentially you could see better, more madness on each section. And
totally.
We're going to be going into the jibs coming up next. So the top 3, Alex Hall, Fabian Bosch, and Evan McCachran. Amazing, amazing round just then. We had 4 skiers in the 90s in that first round, so that was pretty amazing. But let's go back to yesterday. This was a name, Thursday actually, this was a name I heard you guys shouting literally from the mountaintops, Kelly Silderu.
You know when Michael Phelps showed up at the Olympics the first time and he won like 100 gold medals? That's kind of the same feeling I get when I watch Kelly Silderu ski. I mean, it's just like, she's so good. She's really just got extraordinary skills. I mean, look at the landing on that switch 1080. Back-to-back switch 10s, one to the right, one to the left. I mean, it's unusual to see that type of skill, and then add the fact that she's only 16. So she's very young, and then she comes onto the rails and swings a 450 round when there's almost no room to do much of anything. Beautiful K-fed right there. Look at the nose butter. She's been spending so much time, training over the years, but she was like 8 or 9 years old. She was skiing with some of the very best, like Virginie Favre, and like just shredding around the mountain, learning from those beyond her. And she's got natural talent to play with as well. And I mean, she's really blown just about everybody away who's in the ski world, who's beholding this slopestyle stuff.
Well, it's pretty cool. I mean, the morning on Thursday, I heard you guys talking about Kelly going into that contest, and that name just kept resonating through. So Kelly Sildrew, of course, she is on an absolute tear. This can be a huge season for Kelly.
No question about it. She was injured last season, so she didn't get to go to the Olympics. But prior to that, even at age 13, I mean, she was dominating X Games Dew Tour. She was winning competitions back-to-back. So she's a little bit older, a little more experienced. She's back from an injury, and it's going to be just incredible to see her shred.
She's going to have to make some room on that mantle for some more trophies. She's already got the Dew Gold here, and we can expect more from Kelly in the future. We also had the Ski Team Challenge, which is one of our most fun elements of the entire Dew Tour competition.
Yes.
This is where you see the grudge matches come through. I mean, and these are classic matchups between iconic ski brands who come into competition with chips on their shoulders, knowing they're here to defend the honor of their main sponsor. I mean, it's all about skis. It's all about the hardware, the backbone of our sport.
Totally. And I mean, one exciting thing is like Team Atomic came in and they threw it down. They took the bacon on the day. Miguel Porteous, Gus Kenworthy, and Fabian Bosch. I mean, they just threw it down. Jossie Wells was the coach, just taking them through the goodness. And they were generally spectacular, winning the pipe event, highest score in the jumps. And then Gus Kenworthy comes in and rounds it out, and they take the bacon overall. And I mean, they were just kind of on fire, I've got to say.
It was super fun to watch, and it's always cool to see kind of the behind the scenes, these moments right here where you see that team unity, and it's cool to get them all together because a lot of times everybody starts to separate, especially in Olympic years. You know, you have your free riders, your contest guys, so it's cool when the teams unite, you get to see something a little bit different, a little bit more special.
Totally, and that's exactly probably the best way to say it. I mean, it all went down right here, the unity of the brands, and one cool thing, Faction, as a company who has a tremendous amount of exceptional skiers, including Candide Tovex, who might be one of the greatest skiers ever to grace the land, had trouble. They've gotten into last place the past 2 years, and who was it but our #1 score holder right now in slopestyle, Alex Hall, who came into the jib section and took them from last up to second place. So, I mean, he had a massive contribution. On screen, you're seeing Gus Kenworthy throwing it down for Atomic and absolutely lighting up the skies with a beautiful run overall. That was enough to bring Atomic the bacon overall. But, you know, I just want to keep hitting that. I mean, Alex Hall is kind of on fire this weekend. He's a name that I think a lot of folks are going to start saying, yeah, hey, that guy's, well, he's legitimate.
Well, he dropped a 94 in the first portion of men's ski slopestyle so far. So we have our top 3 going into the jibs. Now let's talk about some of the underachievers as we foreshadow this next portion of the contest. Henrik Harlow, ABM, Gus Kenworthy, these are guys that are outside that top 3. For now, who's going to come through on the jibs and rise up to potential podium position?
Well, I kind of got to reflect back in time a little bit, and I think Henrik Harlow is always one of those guys that you can truly count on to step up to the plate and just Babe Ruth this thing out of the park. I mean, I have a feeling that his tricks in the rails are going to be very difficult to beat. He's one of the guys who's like conquered head-to-head slush events in the past. He's one of those guys who's won this competition 2 years in a row. He also won Big Air and Slopestyle at X Games last year. I mean, he's extraordinary. He didn't have the hugest score in the jumps, but in the jibs, I think we're definitely going to see some huge things out of him. Also, don't count out Alex Beaulieu-Marchand, Evan McEachern, who's in that 3rd place spot. I mean, he could really dive in headfirst and knock it out of the park. But Alex Hall, he had the highest score in the team event. He's in 1st place right now. He is in the driver's seat 100%.
Well, there you see your top 8. Everyone within the realm of possibility in terms of getting themselves on the podium. We're only halfway through men's ski slopestyle. This is the finals. We will be crowning our champions in the jib section coming up right after this. Before we get there, like you said, Henrik Harlow, this guy is amazing on the jibs. Let's take a look at the domination we saw from Henrik last year, 2017 Dew Tour. Take a look.
Henrik Harlow now.
What? Unbelievable. Whoa! That was huge.
Henrik Harlow just bringing it with a smile on his face. Stomping. Nice.
Snowpark Technologies has been around for 21 years, so we've done probably more than 150 plus 200 events. The Dew Tour is definitely the kickoff of the big competition season of the big three. Feature one for Slopestyle course in the jib section is going to be a Stanley branded feature. We kind of start bouncing ideas and feedback and talk to some athletes about what would they like to see, stuff like that. So then we just start kind of modeling everything out, coming down to the final design, and then getting out and starting to build. Building the features is not an easy task. It consists of chop sawing, torching, measuring, cutting, welding, bolting the rails, painting, loading up the rails, shipping the rails, offload in Breckenridge, and take them up the mountain from there. You never know as far as like the creativity of the riders. Every year we're really surprised.
Hi crew, we're here in Breckenridge, Colorado for the first stop of the season. It's the Winter Dew Tour, and this is our first eyes on the course. Well, couldn't be more grateful to SPT. This course is incredibly innovative, and it looks like an incredible way to get this season started.
Oh, the picture says it all. This is the Dew Tour. We are in Breckenridge, Colorado for the 11th year as Progression comes here to set down roots and turn up the heat for the rest of the season. Todd Harris, Luke Van Valen, Tina Dixon with you here on a beautiful day. Only concern is which chair are you going to jump on? It is a beautiful place to be in during the holiday seasons. And if you get a chance to pull off to the side and watch some of the best in the world, you are in luck because they are here competing in the men's slopestyle final. As we take a look at the standings for those who just dropped, Alex Hall leads the way. And remember, folks, the jump section is half your score. So you do yourself a solid, Luke Van Valen, if you're sitting on a 94 like Alex Hall.
Yeah, he's in a glorious position. But Fabian Bosch, Evan McEachran, and Andre Regelli, all guys with scores in the 90s coming out of the jump section and probably feeling quite a bit of confidence going in. And Andre Regelli, Evan McEachran, they're extremely technical skiers. I mean, they're in an exceptional position right now.
Currently in third place with a 92.67, Canada's Evan McEachran, looking, well, stylish and always polite as the Canadians tend to be.
Yeah, he's so consistent. I mean, he's one of those guys that just, you watch him shred through the park and everything's going to be clean, everything's going to be so well landed and complicated. I mean, his tricks are far from uncharacteristically, consistently complex. Huge big switch left side, double cork 1440 lead tail. So you can see locking it down. Look at the landing. Boom. Just skis down, hangs it out. Big switch slash down at the bottom. Beautiful run.
Sitting in second place, Fabian Bosch. He was very consistent. Started with an 88, went to a 92. His third offering was a 93.3.
And Fabian, typically a pretty focused cat when it comes to jumping, but into the rail section, he's in a nice position, but I haven't seen his skills in the rails. Typically, he'll show up a lot for big air competitions. In the team event, he was the jumper. So he's got to come into those rails and really throw down. I wouldn't put it past him to truly bring some serious heat to that course as well. He definitely set himself up very well.
Talk about bringing the heat. How about this guy? Came out on the first run of 3 and laid down a 94.
Left side, double cork 1260. And hello. Unbelievable. The seatbelt grab right there. It just, the complexity inherent to what he's doing with his hands and his body while he's in midair, flipping, spinning his way down this course. It was amazing. It was enough for the top spot. The judges blown away by it, and he took the top spot in the team competition. So
no surprise.
He's in a really good place. Really, really good.
Performing quite well here at Elevation, Breckenridge, Colorado. As we take a look at the current standings, there they are. That is half of their score right now, so you can do the math. The higher you up on that board, the easier it's going to be for you in the rail sections to maintain your position. Now, you can't just mail it in. So, Luke, I'm going to put the heat on you right now, the microscope. Out of that group, who do you think comes through on the other side? Give me your podium right now as it stands coming off of these results.
My podium is Alex Hall, Henrik Harlow, Evan McEachran, no particular order.
Okay, so those 3 you say will be there when the dust settles, or in this case, the powder.
I mean, I think so, but I mean, man, I've been wrong more times than I can count.
I can't think of one. As we take a look at the actual rail yard there, the jib section, the judges, there'll be 5 of them, and what are they looking for? This isn't just about sliding rails, Luke. What do they want to see to give you the big score?
They want to see you bringing some really original things, utilizing different parts of the course. Use of the course is going to be very important, but big spins on and off the rail, and also pretzeling. I mean, a pretzel, I'm going to be saying that a lot, so it's important to explain it. Basically, that's when you spin one direction onto the rail, you stop your momentum and you spin the opposite direction out. It's very, very difficult to do. It causes your body to basically have to pretzel by torquing yourself in the opposite direction, and that's going to be important. But also, anytime the athletes are kind of dancing on the rails, they're switching their ski position, swapping their footing, spinning off and on, doing something a little bit different than the rest of the athletes are doing, single-footed slides, grabbing their skis while they're sliding. All of these things are going to come into play, hitting the jump switch, spinning to the left and the right. We're going to try to run you through this and give you an idea of what's the best thing that we've seen so far, but man, there's going to be a lot.
All right, before we get to the jib competition, the second half of the slopestyle for the men, let's check in with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, Todd, so right now I'm standing on top of the jib portion of the slopestyle event, and if you look behind me, it's actually very impressive. It's a very high speed, also high consequence course. Now, someone to keep your eyes out for is Fabian Bosch. He's sitting in that second place right now, and I talked to him before. He said he was an alternate, got the call 5 minutes before actually competing that, hey, you're in. But guys, he's sitting in second place right now, and remember, this is 50% of the score, a big chunk of the overall picture. So these guys, anything could happen.
All right, Tina, before we let you go, how about the conditions? We see the flags blowing a little bit there, but the course looks beautiful and manicured. Is that the case?
You know, there's a little bit of wind on the flags, as you can see, but yeah, the course is perfectly manicured. And you have to remember that a lot of these guys competed in that team event, so they've already had a chance to ride this in competition. But right now, the wind's not making, it's not a big deal at this point, but we will keep our eyes out for it.
All right, thank you very much, Tina Dixon, reporting from the top of the jib course. Luke, high risk, high reward is some of the things that Tina touched on there. You see some of these tricks, and we saw this in the women's slopestyle competition for snowboarding yesterday with Jamie Anderson. The judges really want to see combo tricks. They don't want to see you lock onto the rail and just stay on that rail. I mean, it's a thing of beauty to see you slide it all the way down, but you got a combo on this thing.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I mean, the combinations that you bring in, the more complex and clean that they're done, the better your score is going to be overall. So big combinations, no repeating tricks throughout this. This is a long course. There's 4 main sections, and these guys really have to dig super deep in their trick bag to pull out those things that are really going to turn the heads of the judges, but also give that dynamic overall feel of a very smooth run.
completely different kind of situation as ski slopestyle goes from a one-act play where it usually was you'd hit 3 rails and then you go down the course and ski into 3 big jumps. Now you did your jumps, we took a short respite, a little intermission. Now it's the second act of this play, so you got to bring it all together, but it does allow you, I've heard a lot of athletes say this, it does allow you to focus on one aspect at a time, and that's it.
Absolutely, and really having that focus, that ability to think, I'm just jumping right now, and then go and I'm just hitting rails. Everything is about rails. That they might put on a different song in their headphones when they're hitting rails than when they're hitting jumps. Maybe they're rock and roll with the jumps, but they like a little hip hop in the rails. These sorts of things can be handled in a format like this.
And if the visuals we're bringing you don't make you want to come to Colorado or Breckenridge next year for the Dew Tour in 2019, at least it makes you want to buy some real estate here, because it has been beautiful all week long. We came in, some of us Tuesday, Wednesday, and it was snowing, so you got the fresh coating down, and now it has been glorious. And today, temperature right around 40 degrees. I mean, look at our backdrop. We don't even get to be on course, and look at this. It's a thing of beauty, and I'm not talking about Luke Van Valen. I'm talking about the valley.
It's gorgeous. It's delightful. I was riding up the T-bar today at the very top, and I thought to myself, well, this is the reason why I live in Colorado. Just have a gander at the gloriousness behind us.
You have a beautiful backyard, my friend. Speaking of beautiful, we are set to go. This is the jib portion of men's slopestyle. First man to drop in on the jib section of slopestyle here in the final will be Fabian Bosch of Switzerland. He's 21 years of age. Now remember, he's coming off the jump features in a very good place with a 93.3, and that is half of his score. So whatever he can do in the next 3 runs here in the rail yard will be combined with that 93.3.
And a very substantial score, as we continue to say. I mean, typically, even getting into the 90s is considered extraordinary, and we've got 4 athletes in the 90s. Henrik Harlow just outside of that with an 89.67, Alex Billiou-Marchand with an 88, and on it goes.
This is Fabian Bosch, the first man to drop in here on the jib features. He will get 3 cracks at this course, currently sitting on a 93.3. That will be combined with whatever he can do, the best run of 3 here in the rail yard. So here we go, Luke. It is all about the 2-act play, and here comes act number 2.
The shade coming in a little bit. Switch right side 270 pretzel 450 out. So the first pretzel right there, very difficult stuff. 270's on, comes off the rail a little bit early. Still able to land backwards off that rail. Switches his stance to the 450 on. Sucks the tails up over the tail of that donkey style rail, and Fabian Bosch coming off. Not ideal for run number 1.
The good news is he has 2 more cracks at it. Overall impression, certainly a thing, Luke. Did you see enough there that that would be a run you think he'd want to hold on to, or is that going to be his throwaway?
No, that's going to be his throwaway for sure. Just the fact that he came off of the second rail a little bit early would be enough to throw it away, even if everything else had been perfect, but he had a mistake on the final rail as well. So, oh, excuse me, I called that a 270 on. He hops right foot forward and a back swap occurs. He turns a quick 180, swings his tips over the rail, but does come off a little bit early. And an opportunity right there on the knoll to kind of reset for a lot of these athletes. Here's the 450 on, and he sucks his tails up just up over that last kink in the rail and does not complete the entirety of that rail as well. Kind of a shotgun double bar right there. And the 270 on to nothingness on the tail end.
So replay certainly does not lie as the judges see all of that, and now they'll put pen to paper, and it'll be a 47.33, so that definitely has to be a throwaway for him, because big scores are in the making here as we make our way back to the top of the course. There you see the sun beginning to set, and you talked on it, the shadows could be an issue.
A lot of these athletes can just change the lenses in their goggles to have something a little bit brighter, a little bit closer to clear to be able to see well. Switch 180 on, right foot forward to 450 out. Front side 4. Here's the right side 270, pretzel 270, very clean, spinning both directions so far. Nice big hand drag, inverted 360 up and over the knoll. Lip slide 450 to pretzel 270. So far, so good. Big switch 270 to 4 out. Solid stuff right there from the Swede, Oscar Wester.
Luke Van Valen bringing a lot of numbers at you during that. Luke, you're basically referring to the rotations that they're bringing as they enter the rail and as when they exit.
That's exactly right. 270 is basically just 90 degrees short of a 360. And so the athlete will land sideways. He does a 180 on there and swings a what's called a 450 out right there. So that's 90 degrees beyond a 360. And there's the right side 270. Stops his momentum. Watch the way he spins on and the way he spins off are different. He has to actually edge on the rail, and metal to metal, very slippery there, and a really, really difficult maneuver to perform. And here's the continuing 450 right there for Oscar Wester out of a backwards 270. Very clean run.
This should be a pretty decent mark for him. It's an 80, so there you see the combo with what he didn't jump. A 167.67 now, his combo score. Just a beautiful day in Breckenridge, Colorado, as we've made the move over to the jib features here for the second half of the men's slopestyle final. Oscar Wester has the mark to beat right now. He laid down an 80 on his opening run. Teal Harley now with an 85 carried over from his jump. Again, it's 50% of your score.
And front swap, front 450 out. Clean stuff for Teal Harley and transfers one rail to the other. Switch nose butter right there to 540. Nice 450 on. Hard way to do that. Nice 270 to 450 out. Clean stuff for the man who took 5th in Pyeongchang at the Olympic Games in slopestyle. Typical story for him. Started skiing at 6 years of age, began jumping shortly after, and the rest is history. Great right side 450 here. Lands nicely on the rail, catches the inside of it, just pops off switch, comes in, switch, left side 270, and then just continues spinning the same direction for the 450 out. Considerably easier than stopping his rotation and spinning another direction. There's a barrel there, and some of the athletes will be tapping that barrel most likely with their tails or the noses of their skis. Look for that for extra points.
Alex Boulot-Marchand of Canada. Jump section, he got an 88.33. Looks to build upon that. That's half his score. ABM now from Canada dropping in. Luke, you've talked to a lot of these athletes. Are they favorably looking at this course and the way the slopestyle thing is set up that you do half and half, or would they rather go back to the traditional 3 rails, 3 jumps?
I think they're absolutely loving what they've got going down. And huge trick up top for ABM. So far, so good. Switch tails 270, pretzel 450 out. Really tough tricks up top. Definitely so far the best and most technical run that we've seen. Catches the donkey and pops up into a 450 out there. An unbelievable ABM laying down a burner.
A lot going on for that run for the Canadian. Not only did he catch the donkey, but there was a lot of spinning and the landings were near flawless.
Oh my gracious. He hops 180 right here. Switch 270, tails 270 to backslide. Hops off, switch, landing one-footed on that rail. And then he comes in here, and this is the hard way to do a switch 270. Switch tails 270, pretzel 450 out. There's no room to spin that much off of that rail, but ABM makes it look so easy. Double hand dragging on that inverted 360 and down into this section. 450s onto the double barrel, and that kink just wants to kill you. It wants to stick you, and he just pushes beyond it flawlessly. Switch 270 on, pretzel 450 out. That is extraordinary. That was a beautiful run.
Alex Boulot-Marchand with the best score so far in the jib features, an 87.33. So a nice combo score for him, and he still has 2 more runs. Ferdinand Dahl had his issues, Luke. His top score in the jump section is a 51. So even if he got 100 in the rail yard, he's only going to be at a 151.
No, I think he's just going to enjoy himself out here. And nice slide to front swap. Very clean. Oh, tail popping out of that nose butter on a switch 540. That knoll area is just really for laughs. Yeah. It's just for fun right there. You can just pop a little something.
Look at that, 1 foot.
Switch on, backslide to switch. Super clean. Very, very tough to do.
So Ferdinand Dahl, possibly with all the pressure off him because of his performance in the jump section, wasn't really up to par. He can, as Luke said, just come out here and have a little fun.
This is a great transfer from one rail to the other. Front swap, and then front side 270 out. Boom.
I mean, there's so much that could go wrong there.
There's yeah, and not to mention how slippery the surface of that rail is. Switch on, Right foot forward, but backslides on that left foot all the way down to switch. Ferdinand Dahl just with an opportunity to really just show his fans how he skis when he's having fun.
Ferdinand Dahl checks in with a 60.33. So there you see the combo. The problem he's got saddled with that 51, a 111 is his combo score right now. All right, this is where it gets serious. You start getting into the athletes with the 90 from the jumps. Andre Rigetli sitting on a 92 coming over from the jump section, and this guy knows a thing or two about rails.
Nice front swap from the box to the rail. Pretzel, or front side 450 out. Ooh. Oh, yes indeed. Looking very, very good. Super technical, sitting on that 90, coming in, switch, right side 270 to 630, pretzeling out. Huge spin on the way out, the first 6 that we've seen, and booyah! Yet again, the 630 out the tail end by Andre Rigetli. That was a very aggressive undertaking of the rails. And I feel compelled to comment on the fact that there's so much happening there. There's so many big tricks, and it's so easy to jump on a rail and just be a little off and not be able to do those tricks. To be able to put a run like that all together top to bottom, truly amazing. Here's the front swap, front 450 out. And he's just gonna hop up, 270 on, front swap, 450. So that's almost a 360. And then he does a 180 while on the rail, and then the 450 out. So, I mean, that's just a tremendous amount of spinning that's taking place on the rail. Difficult stuff to do. To be able to get the 450 out when there's really not a lot of air time there, also really tough. Switch left side, 270 on, 630 out, continuing 6. He also swung a big 630 out of the donkey, so very, very clean run. A lot of intensity, much like his jump run. He had the back-to-back 16s, and then he had back-to-back 630s off the rail down here at the bottom of the jib section.
So Andre Rigetli waiting for his score to drop. A beautiful run through the jib section. That coupled with what he did in the jump section should give him a pretty solid score, an 84.67. So there you see it, a 176.67 for Rigetli and 2 more runs to go.
For the Swiss skier right there, you total that with his 92 flat, and that puts him on top of things right there.
McCrae Williams, best offering over in the jump section was an 83.3. So he has got that for 50% of his score. How do you think McCrae will fare on this very intricate rail section?
I think he'll do well, and if that's any indication of what's to come, we're in for it. Switch 180 on, 270. Very clean. Right side 270, 450 out. Continuing 4. This big inverted 3. Seemingly the stock in trade for a lot of these athletes. Are you kidding me?
Beautiful transfer.
Hops on that transfer, back swapping the gap. Such a tough thing to do. That is a statement right there. That is a very dangerous, high risk, high reward type of trick.
Being able to transfer from rail to rail is one thing, Luke, but when you throw a 360 rotation, you got to worry about tips and tails getting hung up, and he has no issues.
No issues. Here's the right side, 270 on, and swings the 450 out. Really clean, great looking landing. And watch this, comes on, back swap, transfer, out onto his tips. Nice looking 270 out, super clean, great speed here. And this really is just, it's a speed dance that you've got to perform right there. You've got to land perfectly on that rail, and these guys just, they know everything about this course, doing so well. And beautifully executed once again. McCrae Williams putting down a solid run. I would say we're going to end up mid-80s. There it is, 81, maybe low. Judges holding back a little bit.
81.33 for McCrae Williams. Boy, the fans taking in the Dew Tour here at the base village at Breckenridge, Colorado. James Woods now set to go on his first run through the jib. And he is sitting on a pretty decent score from jumps, an 88 loop, looking to build upon it. How's Woodsy's rail program?
Strong to quite strong. Switch 270 on and onto the rail, the wall ride. That is solid and a good thought. I mean, athletes that are going to utilize different parts of the course gives the judges something else to judge. Switch, tails 450 right there from James Woods, looking really good. and then hops up onto the rainbow rail, right side 270, taking it down along that. A great first run for Woods.
James Woods out of Great Britain, 26 years of age, the first athlete to utilize that wall ride that we've seen so far here in run number 1. It'll be interesting to see everyone using that little loaf that they've all kind of thrown a little inverted 360 on, and everyone's making that the trick of the day. Here he is one more time.
So switch 180 onto the wall, 180 off. Nice and clean. We remember just a couple years ago, Gus Kenworthy coming into the jib section, hopping way up onto the wall ride and kind of separating himself from the rest of the pack in that way. Beautiful switch tails, 450 right there. Super tough trick. And James Woods making it look easy. Here's the right side 270 on, and I think he's probably going to want a pretzel out of that. We'll see if he gets it next time. Just the footing that he had when he landed on the rainbow bar looked like he was looking to change some directions.
73.3 for James Woods. Wondering if the judges are not entertained. We might have to bring something a little extra for runs 2 and 3. We talked about the visuals, the sun beginning to set. Gus Kenworthy making a swap of goggles. As Luke pointed out, going for a more high visibility, high resolution lens.
Switch 270, 360, swap back 270. Super tough trick to kick things off. Probably matching our current leader with that, Alex Billiou-Marchand. Nice looking transfer, Gus, super clean so far with really difficult maneuvers. Oh, are you kidding me? Sneaks the 450 onto a rail that, while I stand next to it, it towers over my head. Unbelievable. That showed that the run that he has in mind is definitely worthy. I think that he could bolster one of the biggest scores. Love this switch 270 to 360 switch up, back 270 out. And look at that landing. I mean, compared with Alex Billiou-Marchand, that's probably the toughest trick that we've seen so far. And 450 on pretzel 270. I mean, sneaking your way by that kink, and he sucks his legs up to contact that. Your speed has to be perfect on that rail. If you come in a little too fast, you're gonna just fly all the way over it. To think that he got that high on the rail when he made his contact is super impressive.
64 for Kenworthy, and now you look at the man who had the best jump score, Alex Hall out of Park City, Utah, with a 94. So now, virtually in first place, depending on what he does here in the rail sections. Does he play it conservative early, or like in the jumps, does he go out and just slay on the first run?
And this is starting to look a little bit like what we saw in the team event. Switch on, switch up, back swap 270, really clean, looking good. And this is what we were talking about, the combos, these combinations of big tricks. Just a big transfer right there coming in, switch on. Tail tapping the barrel and swinging a 270 around, solid stuff.
So the Mountain Dew cooler gets a cameo appearance on Alex Hall's run as he makes his way through here. And this has so much going on, you almost have to see the whole thing in slow-mo just to appreciate what he did.
Yeah, so switch 180 on, hops on right foot forward, back swap 270. And he hops on here, little switch up, back swap, just continues to dance on these rails. And here comes the transfer. Hops on. McCrae Williams did a back swap, so he switched his body position completely. That's considerably more difficult than what we saw from Alex Hall there. But watch the tails of his skis. Oh, catches the Mountain Dew cooler, that barrel. Nicely played. Watch that. I think it's the tail of his right ski. Boom, gets it.
Earned himself a can of dew and a score of 75.33. So he's a little lower than he was certainly on the jumps as he slides into 5th place as we move on to the final 2 competitors in run number 1 here in the jib features. Evan McCackern and then Henrik Harlow will wrap things up for run 1.
Prepare thyself. Evan McCackern, very legitimate, very technical skier, both in the jumps and in the rails.
Here we go.
Right side 270s up onto the top of the wall ride, 270 down, now popping to switch, coming into this second to last section. Switch right side 270, pretzel 270 out, gets a little bit out on his toes, but holds on to it. Right foot forward, transferring back to out, McCackern putting down a run.
I can't wait to see
That use of the wall ride is massive. I mean, that's just huge. In the eyes of the judges, to not only hit something that hardly anyone's touching, but to send it all the way to the top of that with a high-risk trick. And he's dusting off snow on the top of that thing. I mean, it has not been touched. Have another look. Huge right side 270 all the way up to the top as we take another look. Look at it, just freshy tips of his toes. Excuse me, maybe that wasn't snow, just a little on the boots. And then the front side 270 out. That's big. That's rich. You gotta love that little piece of material. So it's right side 270, pretzel 270. Maybe came off a little bit early right there, but definitely got the trick. There's the transfer way out on the tail slide. Transfers over, back 270 out. Very clean.
So using almost everything at his disposal, and look at this score, a 90 for Evan McCackren. So a 92 from the jumps, a 90, and look at that combo, a 182 plus. He is certainly going to be the man to beat.
90 flat here. Makes you wonder if someone up top is saying, well, maybe I should hit the wall ride.
Only the second athlete to do it. Henrik Harlow, the last man to drop in. We'll see what he can do. We know how talented he is on rails.
450 on pretzel 270, so stopping his momentum, cleanly making his way out. Switch tails tails on, excuse me, to 270 out. Whips around a little butter right there. Right side 450, super clean, switch out. Now coming down into the bottom. Here comes the switch 270, continuing 4. Solid run for Henrik Harlow. Lost a little bit of that characteristic cleanliness through the midsection of that run, and coming in, switch tails over on that second rail.
Henrik feeling pretty good about that first run of 3 in the jib section.
In the team event on that second feature, we saw him go for a safety grab while rocking along there, and this time maybe reaches down for something as he dismounts, but very blind approach to the rail. Super tough stuff to do right there. And then a front side 270 out. Kind of got a little bit flung right there. Hopefully judges don't hold that against him. Right side 450 on and just a beautiful charisma throughout. And there's the 450. Probably could maybe pick up the intensity a little bit on this final feature. If Harlow wants to bounce up into those 90s, maybe not. I've been wrong before.
Score coming in now. How about this? A 92 for Henrik Harlow. 180-167. What a way to wrap up the first run to the jib section of the Slopestyle final.
Mr. Harlow now sits in number 2 position. So at the end of round,
so Henrik Harlow with a 92, Luke. As we take a look at the standings after one run and the combos to the right, it's Evan McCackren now in control of the board with a 182.67. Henrik Harlow, Andre Rigetli, Alex Boulot-Marchand, and Alex Hall now bumping down to 5th place. We've got 2 more runs to the jib section, and we will have that when we return to beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado. You're watching the Dew Tour, built by Mountain Dew.
Back to you guys. Good luck on the next 2, Henrik.
What a showing. Run number 1 in the jib course, and the boys came out swinging for the fences.
They absolutely did. Alex Billiou-Marchand coming in hot. That was what we just witnessed there. And then a gentleman by the name of Evan McEachran, the Canadians firing out here. And Henrik Harlow, look at this transfer right side 450 onto the tail end of a rail that's very difficult to hit. The speed that you have coming into that has to be absolutely perfect. Harlow puts it down, takes over the top spot in this portion of the event in run number 1.
Henrik Harlow getting a 92. What a move for him as he goes all the way up into second place. So remember, your jumps is 50% of your score. This is the second half of your score. Henrik Harlow certainly did himself a solid by getting that 92. So only 2 men into the 90 club in the rail section. Henrik Harlow with the 92, and McEachran with the 90. As you look at the full standings, still a lot of work to be done, and the judges now, I think, feeling that they've given out the appropriate numbers, but I think the athletes, Luke, are probably going to start saying, okay, that box ride, they really like that.
Absolutely. And as Tina was saying, Fabian Bosch on course for his second run, coming in as an alternate to this event. Typically a big air enthusiast, more of a jumper than a gentleman who hops into the rail sections routinely. And things not boding too well so far here in run number 2, but a nice fronty for the fans. Right, excuse me, left side 450. That last kick not upsetting him, and losing a ski, might have caught the brake.
So you're saying that wasn't intentional? Wasn't part of the program?
Well, if it was, I'm impressed.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty hard
to hit the ejector button and said, you know, how about this?
Yeah, no doubt. And maintaining your footing in the midst of it. So Fabian Bosch struggling with his first 2 runs. Here's a look at this double barrel rail. Nice surface area to land upon by comparison. 450 on, just sucking everything up on that last kink, landing backwards, switch 270 on, and looking maybe for a transfer, but swinging. Oh, gracious. That's where that ski just went buck wild.
Oscar Vester now set to drop in. Mark to beat in the rails is a 92. Oscar's got a bit of work to do trying to catch up with Henrik Harlow and Evan McEachran.
Switch 180 on, lip slide to 270 out. Oh no, issues. And laying out the hand drag right there, 360. What's that, Todd?
It looked like Oscar got a little lost, like he wasn't sure what he wanted to do there, and before he knew it, the course had passed him by.
Indeed. And switch on 450 out right there, and so Wester, he left it for his 3rd run in the jumps.
He did.
Maybe he's going to maintain that rather dangerous strategy here in the jibs. Love this 450 though. Nice lip slide 4, back 270 out. Super clean for Wester. Younger brother of Jakob Wester, a man who was very influential in the sport of free skiing alongside Swede Jon Olsen. 2 individuals who really worked to bring about all rotations in the double flip realm, it would seem.
All right, so
Teal Harley now set to drop in on his second run in the jib section, a 69.33 on run number 1. But boy, has the bar been raised with Henrik Harlow and Evan McEachran both going into the 90s. Harlow with the top score, 92. But it's all about combo. This is just 50% of your overall score.
And Harley swinging a frontside 450 out, big switch up 270. Super clean front swap, front 2. There's the right side 450, a nice ingredient that Henrik Harlow used to climb to the top of the leaderboard. But unfortunately, Harley a little backseat on the contact point.
Luke, a great illustration of just how slick those rails are. I mean, those things, there's no grip, there's no traction on those bad boys.
Totally. I like to use the kind of the metaphor that it's like running at top speed and then jumping onto a stationary skateboard. It wants to slip out from under you. You have to be super balanced. And nice big swap, front side 270 out. Here's that 450, sneaks his knees up to get past that kink, but just a little bit too backseat. And in that situation, that skateboard's gonna fly across the parking lot. It's gone. See, his right foot scoots in, taps the inside of his left ankle, and everything's gone from there.
So the second run now for Alex Boulot-Marchand. You saw what he did in the jumps, an 88.33. Not a bad opening score for him on run number 1 through the rails, an 87.33. But since then, Henrik Harlow and Evan McCachran have both gone into the 90s with a 92 and 90 respectively.
Well, my opinion is probably worth what you paid for it, but I thought he had probably the most challenging run that we saw through the rails. 180 on, switch 270 to backslide right there. Now switch, tails over 270, pretzel 450. These two tricks alone, really, really tough. Just looking to improve upon things and get himself up into the 90s. 450 on, 450 out. Oh, he's got one more chance. Wow, so complex, such a tough run. And hopefully the judges will respond affectionately after his third and final run is put, knock on wood, to his feet.
So he gets off the rails here, Luke. What went wrong was just the landing of the balance situation here.
Well, he's got to take his eyes completely off of that rail, and he lands a little bit on his heels, and then when he touches that kink, it only really affects his left foot. So if you can imagine just getting sprung up on one foot but not the other, it's going to change where your body position is in the air. Ferdinand Dahl coming in, kind of for a giggle run. Oh,
Ferdinand having issues as well. So you see the shadows starting to cast their way across the course here. I don't know if that's the issue right now, but a lot of these athletes, it's been a long day for them. Remember, they had the first half of the competition taking place over the jump features, and now here they are on the rails towards the end of the day. The fans certainly are not leaving.
Yeah, the endurance that comes in play whenever they're not doing one competition, they're practicing for the next. So the legs underneath them have certainly got to be in tremendous shape to be able to handle the arduous journey through all of this in one day.
Great crowd on hand here in Breckenridge, Colorado. The 11th year that the Dew Tour has made its way here with the best skiers and snowboarders in the world making their way to the Colorado Rockies. We're in the second run of 3 in the jib section of the slopestyle competition. A look at the current standings shows that Henrik Harlow jumping way up there by virtue of a 92 on his first run in the jibs, but it's all about combo. This is only 50% of your score. Evan McCachran, the current leader, with a 182.67. Andre Rigetli had a huge jump score. And here he is now trying to combo up in the rails, get another big score on the 50%, and he will find himself, if not on first place, Luke, certainly on the podium.
He is so wildly consistent. I mean, that front swap to 4 out, and then the 270 front swap, 450, just consistently crushing these tricks that are very, very hard to do. Switch 270 on, pretzel 630 out. Here's the switch, left 270, and oh, doesn't quite get the grip, on the rail that he needed to, and swings for all he's worth, but does not have the balance point to continue the rotation and ends up down.
So Rigetli will make that as his throwaway score. Right now he's sitting on an 84.67.
Love this right here. 270 on, front swap, back 450 off of that rail. Talk about making the most of a small piece of metal. Here's the switch, 270 on, and he stops his rotation, spins the opposite direction, and a 630 out. That's almost a 720, a trick which, few people, maybe 2% of the world can do on skis. And boom, swings the 630, wanted it, only gets the 450, and not what he was looking for there. He'll have a third run to try to get back up.
Down to the final 6 competitors in run number 2. Park City's McCrae Williams set to go on run number 2. His jump portion was an 83, so he's got some work to do if he wants to get himself in contention in the top 3.
Out on the tips when he came around on that 270, 180ing in onto that box. And spinning to the right on that second 270, but no suffix. Oh!
And that's not even a scoring feature as McCrae Williams catches and hooks up the tips of his skis as he's trying to rotate around.
Yeah, looking for a nose butter 720, getting off axis just for fun. But I would say that he was willing to kind of throw caution to the wind right there, Todd, mostly because he didn't have that end part of his trick on the second feature. He did a right side 270 on, probably wanted to spin out of that like he did in run number 1, but didn't this time, so he just swung a nose butter 720. Trying to get the tips around right here, but oh, stuck and stomped, and down the hill he rolls.
So McCrae Williams now looking to the third and final run. James Woods now set to drop in. He had a very creative run early. His first run gave him a 73.3, but I don't know if the judges responded really the way we thought they would, because he took a different course, tried to show him something different.
Indeed. We'll see if he switches things up a little bit. It's great that he's utilizing the wall ride because it's a standout feature. It's a little bit different. Evan McEachran benefited a lot from utilizing that feature. Coming in switch, we'll see if he takes it up a little bit higher on the wall ride. He does. Switch 180 on, 180 off. Coming in switch to this next feature. Switch 450, cleaning that rail. Such a difficult transfer to make. Nicely done by James Woods. Up on, and a 450 out. Definitely going to see an improvement here just based on what we just witnessed on that final feature. He made a mistake on that in run number 1. This time around, locks it in.
Luke, is that run to the tune of a 92, the top score so far by Henrik Harlow?
Yeah, it's tough to say. It really is going to come down to what the judges think about everything else. Switch 270, pretzel 270 out. Some of the athletes doing a little more technical stuff right there, and then pops in. It's how they feel about this.
Yeah.
Are they going to enjoy that transfer of his body position as he comes in on the 180 to the wall ride? And this just, I mean, one of the most phenomenal tricks of the day. Switch 450, just tails over, super tough.
Look at the placement.
And just having to swing his tips and keep his skis clear of that high point on the rail and landing so perfectly on it into this right side. 270 on, beautifully hops on. And there's the 450 out, beautiful landing.
So James Woods with a great second run. The score coming in now much better at 83.67. So his combo score now a 171.67 for Great Britain's James Woods.
James Woods, before we get our next gear, by the way.
Shadows being cast across the jib section of this slopestyle course. The current standings right now, it is Evan McEachran, Henrik Harlow, and Andre Rigetli holding down the podium positions, but a lot of skiing still to go. And this man, Gus Kenworthy, he's an Olympian. He's a trailblazer. He has done so much in the world of free skiing, and here he is now trying to lay down something big. Kenworthy only getting a 64 on his first go.
Splitting his time these days between Los Angeles and New York, but oh, just trouble boats. And that's one of those things that I'm surprised has not happened more often in this event. I mean, with the tricks these guys are throwing down, it's so difficult to link tricks of this magnitude together. Oh, that was hot. And had he done that in run number 1, he would have had a higher score. He did it, just not quite as clean. So he will apply some pressure to that third and final.
Unfortunately, no mistake on that top rail feature will not be a good score.
So Kenworthy probably not going to improve upon what he did on run number 1, so he is stuck with that 64 for the time being. But as Luke said, one more run to go for him.
Switch 270 on, pretzel 360. And then that back 270 out. He comes on, everything's looking good at this point. He just carries down the rail pretty far and just a little to the right of the optimal landing position. And he bounces off his toes, swings the trick around, but couldn't quite hold on to it.
So it'll come down to the third and final run for Gus Kenworthy to try to fight himself on to the podium here in the men's slopestyle final.
He's got those veteran chops.
Final 3 competitors on run number 2. Alex Hall came into the jib portion with a 94. He was in first place after jump. Now he finds himself in 8th place, so it's go time for the young man, Alex Hall, out of Park City, Utah.
Oh, wow, so far so good. Switch on, switch up, back swap 270. A lot going on in that trick. There's the big transfer. 450's out this time around, down to the final feature. If he nails this, he could be in business. What?
Okay.
270 on, tail tap, 270 out. Nobody else really tapping that Mountain Dew canister, and with the score he's got from the jumps, Todd.
That's the beauty of it. The jumps is 50% of your score. The jib's 50%, and he may have just picked up a big score here.
And he kicks it off really well. Switch 180, just hops on, back swap, 270. Just a lot going on there. He really packs a lot into this. There's the front switch up, back swap, 270 out. He's super in control throughout. transfers up over, gets the 450 out. How? I really don't know. I mean, that's extraordinary. Let's see if he gets the tap here. The 270 on, and he does get it, comes off, taps the barrel, and swings the 270 as well. It just requires extra attention, and it's a use of the course that some people aren't even coming close to touching.
Showing no regard for the do, as Alex Hall looking for something in the world of 88 to move into first place. As his score comes down, looking for something big. It's got to be 88.68 or better. If he gets that, he's moving into first place.
We await this run 2 score right here. Henrik Harlow's
I think he's going to get it. I got that good old-fashioned feeling. That's a podium-worthy combination, if you ask me.
For that score to come,
and the score comes in. It's an 89.33, so his combo now is a 183.
He's in the top spot. So yeah, your 1, 2, 3. It's Hall, McEachran, Harlow.
Holy! Answer the bell, Alex Hall.
Come on.
Style winner from last night, by the way, a big score.
What a day thus far for the young American.
So Alex Hall now the top dog, 183.33. Evan McEachran in second, Henrik Harlow in third. And let's not forget, folks, we still have a third and final run to go. 2 more athletes to drop here in run number 2. Evan McEachran needs to do at least 1 point better. He is in a great place as well. 92.67 on jumps, 90 even on the rails.
Just captain consistency. And he's got the tricks, certainly, to take the top spot over. Hops on switch 180, 270, real clean. And up onto the top of that wall right. Gotta love it. Such a tough trick. And what? Just a little switch, buttered 720. Whoa, 270 on, continuing, 450 out, solid stuff. Hops on, and gets the 4 out of the transfer. Evan McEachran once again looking to take over that spot. And man, Alex Hall has just gotten that top.
Combos and transfers seem to rule the day, and it doesn't hurt your score if you venture over to the skier's right and visit the box.
I mean, who is this man? He is so good. Right side 270. Look at his tips are sliding right there at that first bit, and then he casually just swings the 270 out. And then he does a switch, like nose to or tail to nose butter 720 on the snow. Look. Oh, boom. That was just the beginning of it. But switch right side 270 on. Continuing 450 out. Locks it in. Landing maybe was a tiny bit shaky. And there's that transfer over and gets the 450 out. He has such core strength. He gets so much going around.
Whoa, look at this. A 94 for Evan McEachran out of Canada. And now he moves into first place. So Alex Hall dropped the gauntlet, and McEachran answers right back with a 94. So he has the best score so far in the jibs. You combo that with what he did in the jumps, and he is the new leader.
Tight grouping of scores on our top 3 guys, but Evan is giving himself some breathers, so it's now Evan McEachran.
1 man to go in run number 2 of 3. It'll be Henrik Harlow. Moments ago, he had the best jib score with a 92. And that has since been eclipsed by Evan McEachran's 94. But the most important thing, though, is combo. This is only 50% of your score, and that's where Henrik is going to be a little bit on the back foot because he didn't have quite the jump score that he needed. He did not get into the 90s.
That's true. Left side, 450, pretzel 270. Switch tails to 270 out right there. Now coming into this lower section. Here comes the right side 450. Stomping switch, very clean. Last opportunity to pick up some points and comes up a little bit short on that 450.
So doing some quick math, he'll need at least a 97 to retake the lead. The overall at 97 here in the jibs with 1 run to go. I don't know if that's going to be a 97.
Right, I think it's going to have to come down to his final run. And I mean, a 97 in the jib section. That's going to require some things that only Henrik Harlow could do. And just nose press nollies off of that rail into a 270 out. Super tough stuff. A lot of very technically savvy maneuvers and things that it would take the normal person that's a very, very solid skier maybe 20 tries to even come close to it. I mean, he's so good. The switch 270 on right there, back 4 out, just comes off a little bit early and not the landing he wanted.
So a 79.67 does not help his cause. He'll hold on to this 92 he got in run number 1. And it all comes down to the third and final run in the jib section. Overall leader, Evan McCachran, 186.67. Alex Hall and Henrik Harlow, the top 3. Tana Dixon standing by with the leader, Evan McCachran.
And it's shaping up to be a battle between Evan and Alex. Wow, a 94 in the jib section for you. What did you do differently on that second run?
Well, the first run, I actually ended up kind of messing up the third rail. I didn't actually screw up my trick, but I landed on the rail different, so I had to improvise and do something a little bit less spinny. And then on that run there, I locked in proper and could do the 4s out instead of the 2 out. So yeah, just happy it worked out and happy to land 2 runs. Stoked.
Is there anything more that you could add to the score?
I don't think so, honestly. That's about as good as I can get on this course. So yeah, I don't know, just gonna go have some more fun. It's been an awesome day, so just gonna ride the wave, let it continue.
All right, well right now guys, Evan looking really good.
Absolutely has been an awesome day. This is the Dew Tour, and we are down to the third and final run. If you like yourself some good old-fashioned drama, well, stick around. We've got 1 run for glory. Evan McCachran leads the way with Alex Hall nipping at his heels, and we've got 1 more venture into the jib section, and then a champion will be crowned. This is the Dew Tour.
Keep up the good work. Best of luck on that third and final run. You guys are killing it down here. Back to you guys. Evan, you are beating Henrik right now. And Alex Hall, and you've got some point separation between you and Alex right now by virtue of that second run. So you got right there. Look at up the bottom of the pipe there.
I'm a strong believer that this is far more of an art than a sport.
It's my craft, it's my artwork. I like to show it off to the world.
This is just a creative outlet. I love being outside. I love movement. I love just jumping off things.
It's not only about the result, it's about how it looks, how the style is in the air. There is the athletic side and the artistic side.
I just want to showcase what I'm capable of doing, and I want to represent skiing in a stylish way and hopefully catch some people that don't see skiing often.
You really truly ski your best when you're having a good time, and that's when that flow and that creativity happens. That is what our sport is all about.
What I think it really comes down to is doing it for yourself. Look at what's being done, what I've done in the past, and where do I want to go?
Pioneers are on a journey that most just cannot begin to understand. The path is off the map, uncharted and undone. the strong endure. The test is internal. The test is vital. The test is a quest for something new and meaningful. Cause there's gold in them there hills, and it will take innovation and creativity to strike it. Believe the rush. Never give up. Grasp the glory. Trailblazing is the labor. Discovery is the prize.
It has been quite a show at Breckenridge, Colorado. The men's slopestyle final. It started off with the jumps. Alex Hall came out swinging, throwing down a monster score of 94. But Luke Van Valen, the rest of the field was up to the task, and they answered back as Evan McCachran and the rest of the company said, you know what? Get us over to the rails and we'll show you what we can do.
Seriously, a 94 of his own was the result after Evan McCachran's second run, and a well-deserved set of digits right there, because his overall impression, from my perspective, was absolutely sensational.
Current standings look like this with one run to go. Evan McCachran leading the way with a 186.6. Alex Hall sitting in second, 183.3. And Henrik Harlow currently sitting in third. But Andre Rigettli, ABM, also still in the hunt. It is all about the combo score as we get set for the last run of the day in the men's slopestyle final. So as the sun begins to set in the Rocky Mountains, we've got a little matter of business to handle here. The final run in the men's slopestyle competition. Fabian Bosch set to drop in on his third and final go-around. He needs at least a 93 to take the lead.
Starting things off nicely on that switch right, 270 pretzel, 450 out.
Oh, hooked up.
Hops it around, hops on right foot forward. There's the fronty. Nicely done, needs some big tricks down here. He's got a super solid jump run score. No, Fabian goes down.
But Luke, was there any way he was going to get that 93 after that?
After that bobble?
Yeah, the bobble.
Maybe not, but man, you're right. I mean, it's worth bringing up certainly that a bobble at this level of competition with the numbers that some of these athletes are putting up is virtually inaccessible. I mean, it's not going to work.
Well, when Evan McCachran tells Tina Dixon that 94 is about all he's got, I don't think any bobble is going to get you anywhere near a 90 now.
Totally. The switch right, 270 on pretzel, 450 out, and he comes in to this 450 on really nicely. It swings looking for the 450 out. Had he just kept it at 270, it might have changed his plans for the next hit, but he probably would have been able to ride that baby out. Looking for the 4 out, it doesn't happen.
Oscar Wester now out of Sweden, Stockholm to be exact. The 23-year-old had a pretty good run in the jump section. Needs a big score here, and I think at this point, Evan McCachran has really set the standard. The judges are not going to accept bobbles, slight revert outs, people coming off the rails early. You're going to have to be near perfect if you want to be in that 92, 93, 94 point zone.
Absolutely. Right side 270 on, pretzel 270 out. Fairly basic for the natural right spinner, but a very tough, nice left side lip slide 450, very tough trick, and Wester making it look easy. Nicely done down at the bottom, 270 on, 450 out.
He's currently sitting in 7th right
So
now.
Oscar currently in 8th place, would love to bump up himself into some top 5 rarefied air. I don't know if he got it done there, but it was a great final run for him.
Certainly, definitely highlighted right here. I love this lip slide 450, pretzel 270 out, very complex trick. And then he comes in here, switch, tails 270, continuing 450 out, nearly touched that Mountain Dew barrel with the tips of his skis. Let's take a closer look here. Nearly.
Didn't quite do the do.
Didn't quite. But a solid run. The tricks were there. see what the judges have to say.
0.67 or better to overtake Henrik Harlow, who sits in that number 3 position. Henrik is our last skier in the rotation, and as you mentioned before, we talked about this at the top of the round. Our top 3 guys all ski for those last 3 positions. We get set to cap off competition out here today. After we get done with this event, DC will be down there in the field. We'll hand out some hardware. Don't forget, we got live music going on downtown tonight at the Riverwalk Center from 10 playing at 30 tickets over there at dudetour.com as we await.
And the score coming in for Oscar Vester, it's an 85.33. So his combo score now is a 173.
He'll overtake James Woods at this point in time.
So he goes into 6th place. Down to the final 10 competitors in the men's slopestyle final. This is the jib portion, and this is Teal Harley out of Canada, Campbell River to be exact.
Sun kind of going down, a lot of shade out there. The legs probably feeling a little wobbly after a long day of jumping, shredding, and Teal Harley not quite getting the trick that we've seen from his first 2 runs on that first rail. So this is probably going to be something of a laid-back sort, as Teal Harley will not improve.
Here is the slopestyle course that we will continue.
So Teal was sitting on a best score of 69.33, and that's probably what he'll have to stay with after having issues early on. 36.33 does him no good.
You know, Teal might be one of those guys that prefers to almost have all of the jumps and the rails sort of combined together. Maybe he's one of those dudes who likes to flow in between the various aspects of the slopestyle. It's hard to say, but not quite on his game today comparatively to what we've seen from him in the past, but always stylish.
ABM. Alex Boulot-Marchand, 24 years of age, out of Quebec, Canada. Dealing with a tender ankle. We'll see how that manifests itself, Luke, here as he makes his way down for the final time in the jib section of the slopestyle course.
Well, in the jumps, he's the only other guy to perform a triple. He and Henrik Harlow brought a switch triple to the table, but Alex Boulot-Marchand did not finish things out. That ankle problem happened from what took place on the 3rd jump, so really needs to make up some points here. Gets it around, that's where he had trouble in run number 2, 450 on, 4 off. Switch 270, pretzel 450 out, and ABM slams down what I believe to be his best run of the day through the jib section.
Man, if that's a bum ankle, make them both bum, because that was rock solid.
In his first run, a score of 87.3.
Wow.
In my opinion, yes.
That was a very serious run, fraught with extreme complexity. I mean, from his butter onto the box up top, the backslide, the single-footed piece right here. Watch, hops a 180, then the switch 270 to backslide. That is, in itself, totally different from what anyone else is doing. Switch tails 270, pretzel 450. The judges have just got to respond to this. Left side 450 on, continuing 450 off through the donkey tail on that rail, which is so difficult. That thing just wants to stick you. Switch 270 on, pretzel 450 out.
That's a great run. The score coming in for ABM, it's a good one, a 91, so he goes into the 90 club. Look at that combo, 179.33. He currently sits in 4th place.
What a performance right there. Breckenridge, put your hands together one more time for Mr. ABM. Putting it down, I mean, pressure situation where you needed it to happen.
Current standings, Evan McCachran of Canada leads with a 186.67. Alex Hall of the U.S. sits in 2nd, and Henrik Harlow of Sweden currently sitting in 3rd with ABM. Alex Boulot-Marchand holding down the 4th position. Ferdinand Dahl out of Norway, the 20-year-old. It's not been his best performance in the rails, but right now, remember, it's a 3-run, only your best run counts. Makes it all go away here if he can make it stick, and an early exit there from that rail loop.
Switch disaster. It looked like he's sticking on the rails a little bit. Interesting situation, but swings around the switch right side, tail butter 540. Hops on, front swap, 450 out. Nice stuff from Ferdinand Dahl. The best run we've seen from him thus far through the jibs. There's the big backslide, switch to switch. And Ferdy finally puts his run down.
So a full pole for Ferdinand Dahl out of Norway. Will it be enough to overtake the lead? He would need a monster score just to get into the running. Remember, it's a combo from your jump and your rail section.
His jump score was in the 50s, so making it to the podium on a 100-point scale right now, not really a feasible deal. And very clean. Tons of props right there as he moves in. I love this. Switch on. Backslide, no movement in the upper body, just such a clean slide overall.
You bring up a good point. That 51 really kept him out of any contention for the podium. 63, as we take a look at the current standings, Evan McCachran leading the way still with a 186.67, and that's by way of a 94 in the rail section. So we get a look now at Andre Rigetli. Rigetli currently sitting in 6th place. He had an 84.67 on his first go-around, but remember, he had a 92, Luke, so talk about a great foundation.
He could really build upon that with something serious here, just needs to put it all together.
Need at least a 94 to vault himself into 1st place and overtake Evan McCachran.
Front swap, front 4. There's that 270.
Oh! And the simple act of exiting that rail after it was done so beautifully, Luke, he just gets hung up and loses his balance.
He set the table nicely on that first trick. The front swap to front 450 out, and then the 270. Looking to do a bit of dancing on that rail. Gets off it, having accomplished the trick.
Look at this.
There's a switch up. Gets 450, but just snow snake bite, and he goes down.
Vocal meet vocal, and he drops to the snow.
270 front swap, continuing 450, and oh, just the edge of his left ski, the outside edge, tracked inward, and just an unfortunate circumstance right there.
So what could have been for Andre Rigetli after the jumps in a 92, he takes the 84, and Rigetli now sits in 6th.
On the day, so it's still McCachran, Hall, and Harlow. That battle's still to come, and as those guys are your final.
Cray Williams out of Park City, Utah, looks down at this course and says, I've got one shot at this thing. His best so far has been an 81. He needs something monstrous to keep himself in the running for a top 5.
He's got to break up into the 90s. No question about that. A 95 would suit him nicely. Right side 270 comes out forward, different than what we saw in run number 1. Wondering if that was intentional. There's that back swap to forward right there, and it looks like he's probably gonna have to stick with his first run score. Love watching the Cray Williams ski. Current world champion just didn't quite put his optimal run together today in the jib section.
Added pressure knowing that when you come over from the jump section, if you don't have something upper 80s, lower 90s, you're probably not going to be in the running.
Totally. Beautiful back swap transfer right there. That truly shows human bravery. I mean, that's courageous. And big tail tap right there on the Mountain Dew barrel as he comes up and over. Just a quick little tap and stomp and switch.
A little homage to the title sponsor, McCray Williams. Best score 81.33. So we are down to the final 5 competitors on the final run of the Slopestyle. It'll be James Woods next to drop in. Coming off a great performance on his last run, so he's a slow burner. Started with a 73, went to an 83 now. He gets himself into the 90 Club, Luke. Whole different landscape, possibly for that podium.
Things could happen. Snaps to switch up top. Switch 270, 450 out, gets it. Now, will he change anything up in this section? Sticks with it, just carries a little bit higher onto the wall ride. Here comes.
Oh, no! Not even a scoring feature is that little loaf, we like to call it, and he gets, I don't know if he got hung up or he just got, that was bizarre.
You just feel for these guys.
The easiest part of his run.
Day. Yeah, just cruising up for laps.
Always a gentleman, Woodsy takes a bow. Let's look at this one more time from the top.
Everything started off really well. Switch left, 270 on. Continuing 450. His natural direction of spinning is to the right, so it's a high-scoring trick right there. Way up high. Snaps a 180 real quick out of the wall ride. Comes creeping over. Oh, reaching for the snow, but too much speed and wondering, why did I do that?
Oh, Woodsy still with a smile on his face, 83, so a 171 for James Woods, and 7th place is the best he will be able to do today.
Breckenridge, put your hands together one more time. James Woods. All right, here we go.
Down to the final 4, and Gus Kenworthy has the game face on. He's ready to go. He knows that it just takes one run. He's going to need a monster score because his jump score was not that high at 84.33. Kenworthy currently sitting at 10th.
He's got one of those runs, though. He could really do it. Oh, man. How about it? Things starting off right there. The transfer, no! Comes off rail 1 a little bit early and feels the impact coming onto that second rail. 630 on, 270 out. Are you kidding me? Kenworthy on that disaster, so blind on the way in. What a, I mean, that's got to feel good. I mean, from a skier perspective, to just throw that 630 to 270, landing perfectly on probably one of the most difficult rails in the whole game.
Taking his frustration out and giving a souvenir to a young fan that's been here all day long. You know what? Your day ends well when you get the Gus Kenworthy competition bib autographed.
You bet. Man, what a day. Watch this. Here's 450 where most people might land. Swings it to 630 and a 270 out. Thank you, Augustus Kenworthy, for this beautiful piece of skiing. Hello. That was just truly amazing. Looking over the right shoulder, hops on, switch right foot forward, and just a little tap. Things started off so well, and then, of course, that midsection, something that truly turns heads. Yeah, the transfer just got away from him up top.
So Gus Kenworthy will hold on to his first run score on the rails, a 64 for him.
Fans down there hanging out in the corral. All right, we're down to our final 3. This is our
the current standings look like this. Evan McCachran with a 186. Alex Hall sitting in 2nd, and Henrik Harlow in 3rd. And this will be the 3rd and final run for these 3 athletes, all battling for the top spot here at Dew Tour 2018. What these guys have been able to do, Luke, has been amazing. Henrik Harlow got it started early with his 92 on run 1.
Yeah, and then Evan McCachran up onto the top of the wall ride with a right side 270 and just continued to bring the heat. Switch right 270 on. Some of his biggest tricks spun to the right, which for most skiers is the harder way to spin. And man, the transfer to 450 out, I mean, McCachran has just been on fire.
Alex Hall now currently sitting in 2nd place. He needs a 92.68 to take the lead. After Alex Hall, it'll be Evan McCachran, and Henrik Harlow will be the last man to drop in the competition. So Henrik will have the final say. But Alex Hall, you know the numbers. This is what he's got to do.
180 on. And just dancing on the rail. There he goes again. Backside 270. Sounds like he got a little bit hung up on that. Let's see if he keeps the run going here. Gets the 450 out of the transfer. Nicely done right there from Hall. 270 on, and looking for the tap right there on the 450. Continuing 4 out, but not quite that 90 glimmering goodness that we were hoping to see right there. There was tough to tell what the mistake was, but it did look like it came off maybe a little bit early on that second feature. Switch 180 on, hops the right foot forward, back swap 270, real clean, very creative combination right there, super solid. And here's where he comes in, there's the back swap. Oh, didn't get his spin out right there, so that probably had an influence on the overall feel of his run. And with the judges you know, certainly watching to see everything that's going down. They know what he's been doing. They know he made a mistake there, so that will be counted against him. Unfortunately, in some cases, you are sort of judged against yourself.
They know what he's capable of. They know what he's done in the past. And here's Alex Hall once again. Look at that. Gets the tap in as well.
Oh, yeah. Very, very nice for Alex Hall, and what a day. Still sitting in that second place position.
That score here for his
Coming off the jumps, Alex Hall had the best score with a 94. He's a 92.68 to overtake the lead, and he will get a 90, so a 184 now. Alex Hall cementing that possible second place position here.
How about the weekend that he's had, though?
And then there were two. Evan McCachran, still the leader with a 186.67. He knows that Henrik Harlow will have the final run of the day. He's got the best score in the jibs so far with a 94, and that was combined with an amazing score in the jumps, Luke, a 92.6.
It begs the question, man or machine at this point?
Well, he told Tina Dixon he thought that 94 was the best he could do, but why not go out and give it a shot? Look at this. Mixing things up just a little bit.
Looking clean. Little switch buttered out 720 right there. Switch 270 on. 450 out, clean right through the donkey tail there. Oh my gracious. Brings the heat yet again. Unbelievable. He's so just mind-alteringly consistent. It's so difficult to even imagine being, testing that well. To come right in and bring that unbelievable run twice. Switch 270 on, back swap, straight out. And then he just rolls in casually, boosts up onto the top of the wall ride. Right side 270, continuing 270 out. And that's really the trick that has set him apart. There's just nobody else touching that. So from the human perspective of the judges, it's like, well, that's just bigger. He's up higher. He's doing the trick. It's a right side trick, and it's really difficult. Here's the switch 270. Kind of performs an almost lip slide there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's kind of got to clear his skis up over the front of the rail, which is even more rewarded. Here's that transfer, great balance, hops on, swings the 450 out. Just unreal.
So you're saying this could be a bumper.
So the score comes in now, and it is an improvement, a 94.67. So McCachran cementing that first place spot with just one athlete to go.
Either of these courses, Evan McCachran still in the lead and further cementing that spot. 187.34 with one skier left to go.
One man left in the slopestyle final, Henrik Harlow out of Sweden. The score, he needs at least a 97.66. That is a monster score.
Yes.
Henrik Harlow, though, is capable of a 97.66. But Luke, what can he do that he hasn't done so far to impress the judges to say, you know what, you are the man?
Well, it's hard to say. I think he just needs to really clean up his final feature. He's struggled a little bit on it, but up here, he's been really consistent. Right side 270. Look how shady it is outside as Harlow comes in. The ominous sort of feel. Tails over. Nice 270 out. There's a switch tails butter. 540. Oh, and he goes for the safety grab. Disaster right there instead of what he was hoping to bring home, which was that right side 450 we've seen in the past. So Harlow decidedly bailing about halfway through the run. Not sure what was totally behind that, but with that being said and no chance for an improvement, you're looking at a champion for 2018.
Henrik Harlow waving the white flag halfway through, knowing that he just did not have it today on that third and final. He will not get that score. Remember, it was a 97.66 that he needed. He comes up short, so a 181.67, and the champion officially, Evan McCachran of Canada, will walk away as the Dew Tour champion in slopestyle for 2018. What a performance by the Canadian. He was consistent in the jumps and even more so in the jib section. He is now standing by with Tina Dixon.
Yeah, guys, and Evan was not in the lead when he came into the rail section. You had to deliver, and you did that. So what was the mindset like after the jumps?
Honestly, I figured, like, I thought I'd get a higher score in the jump section than in the rail section, but I guess they liked my line selection, and I don't know, I was having so much fun today, and the weather was perfect. Everyone was having a time, and this is what we do, so yeah, amazing.
You said that you couldn't get a higher score after that second run, and you did, but you still had Henrik to go. He could have knocked you off.
Oh, of course, yeah.
What was it like watching him go?
It was nerve-wracking for sure, but I mean, at that point, I didn't care what happened. I already knew I'd ended up on the podium, and that was enough for me, and then this is just the cherry on top. I can't believe it.
How would you sum up your first Dew Tour win?
Mind-blowing? I don't know. I'm insanely excited, and I can't wait to go party tonight.
What a performance, guys. Congratulations, Evan.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
All right, Todd.
Thank you, Tina. Congratulations once again. Evan McCachran comes to the slopestyle course, and in both acts, he was absolutely stellar. Awesome on the jump features and dominant on the rails. A 90, a 94, and a 94.67. Mr. Consistency, Luke. He clearly was the best athlete on the hill today.
There's no question about it. The back-to-back switch, double 1440s, so well accomplished, and just so fun to watch throughout this jump. These three-pack, the three amigos, boom, so consistent. Watch his landings, just solid. He's already seemingly looking at the next jump when he rolls in. So here comes the back-to-back switch, double cork, 1440s, that's 2 flips, 4 spins, and he's grabbing the lead tail on that just so perfectly. That slow motion shot really shows it. That left arm coming out, locking in the tail, so clean. Got high scores for that. Didn't take the top spot in the jumps, but when he transferred over to rails, was expecting maybe to not be able to beat his score that he achieved in the jump section, but that, of course, not the case. As McCachran comes down, the line choice, I think, was definitely part of it. Hopping up right 270 onto the wall ride, just showcasing that he's willing to do something a little bit different than the rest of the field and do it well. Switch 270 on, continuing forward, super clean through a very difficult rail. Switch on, watch the transfer, and then he swings the 450 out. Evan McCachran with a very well-deserved Dew Tour win.
The final results look like this for the men's slopestyle, and what a show it was. Evan McCachran, a 187.34. American Alex Hall out of Park City finishing in second, and Henrik Harlow of Sweden finishing in third with that 181.67. Great performances from top to bottom from all 12 of the athletes. Everyone brought it today on this new modified program, the 2-act play, but it was Evan McCachran who reigned supreme in Breckenridge, Colorado. Once again, passion and progression on full display high atop the Rocky Mountains. And again, the Dew Tour serving notice what is capable on boards and skis. Congratulations to all of our athletes. And on behalf of Tina Dixon and Luke Van Valen, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado. This has been the Dew Tour. Another day has come to a conclusion in the Rocky Mountains. What a view from Breckenridge, Colorado. If you like elevation, you should be here. Base camp sitting right around 10,000 feet, and the peaks, well, there are plenty to be had. Today, though, progression was certainly served as the men's slopestyle came out, and they certainly, Luke, enjoyed this two-act play. I know a lot of people thought the flow of keeping everything all together was one thing, but today, kind of interesting how they came out, did jumps, reset, did rails.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it made for a great show, and it also gave us a little more skiing to watch. 6 runs in a competitive action. I can't see anything possible in my particular mind that could possibly be wrong with that.
Evan McCachran, though, after his second run, he gets a 94. He tells Tina Dixon, that's about as good as I can do. Then he comes back in the third run, doesn't really need to, but he bumps it to a 94.67, so he could do better, and he did.
Yeah, and when we saw the run that got him up into that 94 range, I didn't know that you could do that run again, right back to back, on a run that's completely shaded. I mean, it's the end of the day. It's the very last part, and it really just sort of gives more insight as to how good Evan McCachran is and how truly deserved his win was today.
He was very good, but you could tell he didn't feel secure until Henrik Harlow came down, because the master of the rails, and you leave the door open just a little bit for the Swede. He could have snuck in there, but he needed a monster score. It just wasn't today.
Yeah, it's so true. Harlow could have just got in and hammered it out, no question.
How about handing out some awards? You feel good about that?
Let's do it.
Let's join our good friend DC and Henrik Harlow, and we will listen in. And wow, Henrik, what a show he put on
Coming
today.
out of Sweden one more time, make some noise for third place finisher, Henrik Harlow. And in second place, what a weekend he's had. He helped propel Faction to their first podium in the team challenge. He won the street style contest last night downtown, and now he's coming to the podium for his first time at Dew Tour. Make some noise for A. Hall, Alex Hall.
Wow, he was a busy young man this weekend, as DC pointed out. Went down to the street style session last night, crushed it. Team stuff, crushed it. Gets himself a nice
Let's hear it
Stanley
one more
tool
time
bag.
for Alex Hall, second place.
That was a great showing for the young man.
And your Dew champion out here for men's ski slope style. His first time on the podium, and he takes it all the way to the top. 4th place last year in the top spot this year. Let's make some noise for Canada's Evan McCachran.
He gets the big toolbox.
Yeah, fact. Well deserved.
Evan McCachran dominant on the jumps, dominant on the
One more
rails.
time, let's hear it for your champion, Evan McCachran, and your podium for men's ski slope style.
Well, Luke, we saw progression, we saw the passion, we saw conditions, a little windy, a little flat light, and the guys just came out. It was amazing. McCachran, Hall, and Harlow, clearly the 3 best on the day.
No question about it, and all of them with their own pieces of beauty throughout the entirety of the event. Harlow, of course, the only guy to stomp the triple in a landed run. Evan McCachran overall just absolutely phenomenal, and Alex Hall having just a generally massive weekend.
What an epic day at the Dew Tour as we put a wrap on Super Saturday. Tomorrow, the final day of the Dew Tour 2018. Men's ski pipe, women's snowboarding. Oh, you will not want to miss it. You can always watch live online. For the entire crew, I'm Todd Harris saying good night from Breckenridge, Colorado. We will see you in town if you were here with us. If not, we'll see you tomorrow morning.